A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
This I believe. Major Samuel Lee of the U.S. Army Medical Corps is an ear, nose, and throat specialist. He is better known as Sammy Lee, the world champion diver. In 1948, he won the Olympic diving championship for the United States. And in the 1952 Olympics, he became the first male diver to retain the high diving championship. Born in Fresno, California, of Korean parentage, he is distinguished for his exquisite form and inventiveness in diving. To rank among the greatest in this difficult sport takes perseverance, skill, and balance, qualities which also come across in Major Sammy Lee's creed.
I picture success as being synonymous with happiness. I liken success in life as a climb up a ladder, with each step being necessary in order to have a firm foundation below us when we reach the top of our life's ambition, whatever it may be. But I believe that too many of us ask the Supreme Being for shortcuts up this ladder and lose faith in Him when we are not boosted up several steps at a time. I used to pray for first place whenever I entered a diving contest, disregarding the tears and time spent by my victorious competitors. I wanted to go up to the top of the diving world before I was ready to carry the burden of success. I know now, after some 20 years of diving competitively, that one must undergo many defeats in order to strengthen oneself for ultimate victory. This is the secret of victory, that after each fall one can rise higher and faster because of the lessons of mistake. However, in this pursuit of happiness there may be other obstacles depending on what side of the fence one stands on. When I was 12, I had to come home from a party because when I arrived, the parents of the child who had invited me were horrified to see that I was not white. I had to leave so that my friends could continue with their party without shame. But my father consoled his grief-stricken son, who felt that he was born of the wrong color and race. Papa told me, it isn't the clothes or the color that measures a man's success, but his creed and code of living. God did make us into various shades and shapes to save His children from boredom, and we must learn to respect the rights of our neighbor, to pursue his ambitions as long as they don't impinge on the rights of others. I cannot help but feel that somewhere, sometimes, someone of my own race has caused a member of another to make untruthful generalities about our racial background. If I play a part in this too often played sport of ignorant prejudices, then I, too, am forgetting the law of judging others as I would want to be judged. So I do not wish to perpetuate any prejudices against Jews, Protestants, or Catholics, nor extend it to racial and national lines, for I know how deeply it hurts to be discriminated against. But I also know that being proud of one's race and bringing forth the good in it, I can help break down those stupid, ill-founded generalities. Years after that first, but not last, painful incident, those same children who were at that adult-guided party had a surprise one for me, unbeknownst to their prejudiced elders. I know that carrying the name and color of my mother and father with pride and dignity, that I had proved to them that my color reflected only my pigment and not my soul. I firmly believe that if each member of the various races took it as a personal responsibility to exhibit those good features of his faith and nationality, and be proud of those attributes, that this would be a far better world to live in. This would be the one common quality that we could utilize towards a safer understanding tomorrow. This I do believe.
That was Olympic diving champion Sammy Lee, a Korean-American, who is now a major in the U.S. Army Medical Corps, assigned to Letterman Army Hospital in San Francisco.
Flash Gun Casey, press photographer. Out of a big city's roaring life, out of a great newspaper's pounding heart, come the exciting adventures of a man with a camera. Flash Gun Casey, press photographer. Columbia presents a new adventure character, Flash Gun Casey, press photographer. Tough, daring, typical of the men who often risk their lives so that you may see the news as well as read it. Their salaries are not large, and they seldom get much credit. But their lives are packed with danger and thrills. Tonight and every Wednesday night at this time, Columbia invites you to follow the story of Flash Gun Casey and the people who pass in swift-moving parade before the shutters of his camera. Tonight's story, the case of the switched plate. The clock in the tower of the Express building reads exactly 7 p.m. In the city room, Ed Burke, the night city editor, is arguing with Casey, a tall, powerfully built man who is carrying a freight case and a camera.
Quit griping, Casey. You've got your pictures. I'll go develop them.
Okay, but for the last time, don't send me to any more weddings. I hate weddings.
Tell me that when you marry.
That day ever arrives, I'll see that it's a private one, not an Easter parade.
Not a big shot there, huh?
Stage, screen, and radio. I was knee-deep in celebrity.
Did Ann Williams cover the story okay?
I guess so. My job was to take pictures of the clam bake, not to write about it.
Many a guy would give a month's salary to be in the same room with Gloria Dolores.
Ouch.
What's the matter now?
That name, Gloria Dolores. I wonder who dug that one up.
Miss Dolores is one of our most famous movie stars.
With all that's going on in the world today, a mere wedding is unimportant.
Whenever a woman like Miss Dolores gets married, it's not a mere wedding. And I hope you got some good shots.
White satin and orchids fairly drip from the lens.
And the Express would like to use those pictures sometime tonight, if you don't mind.
Okay, but if the public never sees it...
Story on the Dolores wedding, Mr. Gray.
Thanks, Ann.
That's what I mean. The story of the Dolores one. The poor guy doesn't count. Already he's missed the Dolores.
How did the pictures turn out?
He wouldn't know. He's been too busy arguing against that wonderful institution known as marriage.
I'm not arguing against it. I only say send someone else when our dear paper wants pictures of the happy dear paper.
We'll cover a lot of assignments like the Dolores wedding.
That doesn't mean I'll have to like him any better.
You mean you'd rather be taking pictures of Thompson?
Are you kidding?
But Miss Dolores did look sweet, didn't? Did look
Yeah.
sweet.
And so did the groom, Mr. Dolores. Knocking at my door. Well, come on in, William. Hey, not so wide. You're letting in too much light.
Oh, sorry. I can hear.
That's why they call it dark.
Room. How are the pictures, Sonny?
I just put them in the suit. Faces and figures should be showing any moment now.
And the Dolores has... I'd do anything to look back at.
You hold your own.
Listen.
And stop whispering. I don't know why everyone does that when they come into one of these rooms. Speak. You won't like it. They'll develop...
Oh, okay, Mr. Casey. Okay.
Man, that's my ear.
This business. He has a marvelous smile, hasn't he?
Did you say so? Here's $100 million up. Hey, what's this?
Whatever it is, it's not a wedding.
Oh, looks like a workshop or something.
Look, here's another one. A long room filled with odd-looking machines.
Yeah. And here's a close-up of one. I never took these. How'd they get in my camera?
Somebody took them.
Yeah. Well, get this. Some guy running... Well, he's running right toward the lens.
Yeah, he looks mad.
Uh-oh.
Recognize it?
No, but I do everything else. Or I think I do. These pictures are of the Hartley Laboratories.
Oh, he's the inventor, isn't he?
One of the greatest. He's a regular estate. 6 or 7 buildings on the place. Conducts all his experiments there. Hey, this looks like a machine shop.
I suppose a lot of people would like to nose around there.
You can say that again. But they're not allowed to. Well, their work is done in secrecy. Hartley even has his own private guard. They won't allow a camera within a mile of the place.
I send the guy to take pictures of a wedding, and he comes back with the Hartley Laboratory.
But I tell you, I never took those shots. You think I'm crazy?
I know. And the ones of the wedding, you didn't take those either.
No, someone picked up my plate case by mistake. I got his. See? It's almost exactly like mine.
The gentleman was very careless.
It was a natural mistake. Why, we were stumbling over each other. That shindig was represented by every news photographer in town.
Not forgetting the ones from the magazine.
Yeah.
Well, whoever he is, I'm glad he didn't hold the laboratories to an exclusive. At least he took some pictures of the wedding, too. Well, we'll have to run them. I doubt if that plate case of yours will ever turn up.
I'll get it back.
You're lucky you didn't walk off with your camera.
And that must be like mine, too. Hey, look, Burke, this is serious. The guy who took these pictures had no right being on that property.
I suppose I don't know that.
Well, what's so funny?
I'm thinking how surprised the guy was when he developed your pictures. All that glamour and no machine.
You know, what I can understand is this man here. He's running right toward the camera.
Yes, that is odd. It looks as though he would... Hey, wait a minute. Who were you near at the wedding, Casey?
I've been trying to think. Blake of the Star was a good man.
Yeah.
Raymond of the Inquirer. John's a fashion magazine.
Mm-hmm.
The four of us sort of stuck together, moving around, taking shots of the other celebrities as well. Oh, but it couldn't be one of them.
Why not?
I've known them for years. They wouldn't take a chance like that.
Some guys that sell their souls for a little dough. I'll take this. Burke speaking. Yeah? What? That's very interesting. About 6 hours ago, eh? Thanks. Okay, I'll switch you to a rewrite. Dixon, take this. That was Kelly.
Our Kelly who covers the plate?
Yeah. They just found a plainclothes guard out of the Hartley Laboratories. 2 bullets in his chest. Killed about 6 hours ago. Does that mean anything to you, Casey?
Yeah, it does now. He's the guy here in the picture. He was running to stop that camera. And in the excitement, our photographer got him on the film before he shot him.
Yeah, that's the way it adds up. Well, get out there and see if we're right. And check on your friends, Blake, Raymond, and Johns. And be careful. It'll be much easier for him to finish off his second victim. And from where I sit, you look like the next prospect.
What a beautiful woman. Miss Dolores looks extremely lovely. The guests charming. The ballroom and tables beautifully decorated. But I can't see where any of it helps me.
But I've explained, Mr. Koch. I never took those pictures.
Then who did?
Well, I don't know.
I suppose you do know that he has the ones you took.
Well, he must have.
Like these, no doubt, developed by him.
I don't remember my plate case being out of my hands for a moment.
A moment would be enough.
Well, there's no way they can trace it to me. I'm safe.
Are you? Bit of a long time to arrange getting a man in there. I mean, at a time when he could work with a camera and not be interrupted. That opportunity won't come again.
And I suppose it's useless to ask for money?
Quite, you failed. Well, I greatly appreciate looking at this very lovely actress. I would much more appreciate looking at the photographs you lost. Especially the ones of that new fog penetrating machine. I know 2 corporations would pay $100,000 for that.
I've never failed before.
And you've always been paid before. I was listening to my radio just before you came in. You know the guard that you eliminated has been found?
He came out of nowhere, running toward me.
And you stopped his running.
Yes, I had to. I think his picture's on one of the plates.
Very clever. Do you always photograph your victims before doing away with them?
I never killed anybody before.
Please, what the harsh word.
Well, I never did. I didn't think I'd ever have to.
First one does leave you a trifle shaken. After that, you become easy. But if you'd brought the photograph directly to me...
But I had to be at that wedding, Mr. Koch. As it was, I barely made it.
Yes, of course, your job, which is such a wonderful blind. Tell me, how did it feel walking into all that luxury immediately after disposing of the lamp? Rather than that circus, everything. Circus, everything. Circus, everything. I wonder what your employers would do if they even dreamed of the pictures you sometimes take with their camera.
Remember, that was my idea. The same camera for both my ordinary work and the work I do for you. That way no one will ever become suspicious.
No? I don't doubt that someone is at this very moment. And he knows that the photographer is not only a thief, but also As you say, someone who doesn't hesitate to stop another breather.
Hey, you're right. But how's he going to know it's me?
Well, maybe he won't, but if one of your picture-taking friends should start to ask questions, no matter how subtly put, be careful.
I will.
And if he should become too inquisitive, you can always handle him as you did the guard. Yes, when that gentleman makes his appearance, remember, he's the man who has your bag. And you've been left holding one.
It was the same guy, all right. The murderer rolled his body against the wall and put a machine cover over him.
Now, wait. They didn't let you in, did they?
No, but I talked to the man who found him. Also to a couple of Logan's men.
Who's Logan?
Lieutenant Logan of the homicide squad.
Oh. Did you tell them about the pictures?
Yeah. And every photographer I could think of who covered the wedding. I left the plate case with them. They'll try to trace it.
A lot of good that'll do.
Yeah, there's thousands of those cases.
What about your pals, Blake, Raymond, and Johns?
They're not pals. These guys I bump into making the rounds.
But you've known them a long time.
Yeah.
Well, what do you really know about them?
They all have cameras and plate cases like mine.
I mean personal.
That's personal.
Now, look, this is no time
All
for...
right.
If you two feel like using some stronger language, I can always leave the room.
Oh, forget it, Williams, forget it.
Blake is married. He has 2 kids. I found him at home reading Our Hearts Were Young and Gay.
I wish ours were. Well, go on.
He was sort of surprised to see me, as I don't usually make those little social visits.
We know you're strictly a nightclub guy.
Quiet. Anyway, I asked him what he'd been doing before the wedding.
With finesse, I hope.
I'm always stuck.
Yeah, like a tank. And what was Mr. Blake doing?
Roaming around.
Oh, fine.
You see, that guard was murdered around 2 o'clock. The wedding took place at 3. The reception at 4. So the guy
You don't have to draw a blueprint. Where did you find Raymond of the Inquirer?
At a bar?
With a blonde.
No, redhead.
Not the
one you know, Bert.
Oh.
There are a lot of redheads in the world.
And what had he been doing prior to 3 o'clock?
Roaming around.
That's just dandy. Just dandy. And Johns of the fashion magazine.
Also found at a bar. The one at the fantasy club.
Alone.
Yeah, but his girlfriend works there. And early this afternoon...
Now, wait. Don't tell me. Let me guess. Don't tell me. Let me guess. He was roaming around.
Right.
Not an alibi in the bunch.
I still can't believe one of them did it. But it must be. Well, I found 2 of them at bars, and that's where I'm going.
Can I tag along, Casey?
Why not?
Can I tag along, Casey?
Why not?
Down the Blue Note, huh?
Yeah.
Where's that?
It's a musician.
Where's that?
It's a musician's hangout. Casey always goes there when he wants to think. They have a piano player there. With his nerve.
And sometimes helps me solve a problem.
Well, I hope he can help you with this one. And you'd better warn Williams about that bartender.
Yeah. His name is Ethelbert. And he reads the Atlantic Monthly and Lord's Unfeigned. And he's tough. Sometimes he has to be the bouncer, but you'll enjoy him.
I expected to hear a jam session going on.
It's only 11:30. The musicians don't roll in here until they're through work.
Oh.
Want to sit at the bar?
Fine.
Ethelbert, put down that New Republic and give us some service.
Hiya, Flash Gun.
Service.
New Republic? Look.
One world. How do you find it?
Great. It says here on
I've read the book.
but maybe it didn't absorb it.
I did. It's excellent. Hey, what are you looking at? You ever see a pretty girl before?
Not that pretty.
Well, thank you, Ethelbert.
This is Ann Williams, Ethelbert. She is new on the Express. I'm showing her the sights.
Full of beer.
Beer. Williams?
Same.
2 beers.
I'm surprised that you find time to read a book.
Yeah. Right now I'm surprised, but not about that. Blake, Rima, John. Has to be one of them, but why?
Well, what they were after must be worth a fortune.
Yeah, they wouldn't talk about it out there today.
2 beers, no heads on them.
Thanks, Ethelbert.
What'd you think of Thomas Paine, Flash Gun?
He was a very great man.
Yeah. Quote, "These are the times which try men's souls." Unquote. I know all about Thomas Paine, Miss Williams.
I'm going over the piano. Want to come along?
Listen, Flash Gun.
It's not that I don't want to lend you an ear, Ethelbert, but I have a lot on my mind. Maybe Ernie and his music can help straighten me out.
Well, I'll stay put and hear about the famous revolutionary figure.
Thanks, Miss Williams.
I said you'd enjoy it.
As you no doubt know, Miss Williams, Thomas Paine was not...
Hello, Ernie.
Oh, yeah.
Slow night?
Not too good. What's on your mind?
Plenty.
Anything you'd like to hear?
Nope. As long as you stick to the old ones.
We agree on that. Remember this one?
Yeah, sure. Confessing.
Uh-huh.
The late 20s. Maybe earlier.
That's right.
Well, that world's gone.
Yep. But we still have the song.
Yeah. And sometimes that's all we have.
Pretty girl you left at the bar.
Yeah. Ann Williams, reporter. Only been in town a few weeks.
Thinking, aren't you?
And getting nowhere fast.
Want to talk about it?
I can't.
Nicest looking girl I've ever seen you with. You ought to marry, Casey.
How about yourself?
I tried it once.
And?
She left me.
Just like that?
Just like that. You see, I didn't make enough money. She wanted too much.
And, she met a guy who had it?
That's right. Yeah, funny the way a guy thinks when he's losing a woman. There's nothing he wouldn't do for her. To give her the things she wants, he'd almost commit murder.
Some guys do.
Yeah. What's the matter, Casey? Did I say something?
I think you did.
You going?
Yeah. And thanks, Ernie. You've been a great help. I may see you later on.
As I was saying, Miss Williams, sometimes I have to throw a guy out, but it ain't like it was in the old days.
No?
No. Then they threw me out.
Look, Williams, I better run along. You go back to the office and tell Bert I'll see him in an hour or so.
Where are you going?
To see a dame at the Fantasy Club, and you can't come. Ethelbert, Williams will pay for my beer. Okay, Ma. Turn your head a little to the left. That's it. Hold it now.
Oh, I closed my eyes.
You only thought so. Anyway, we'll take another one to make sure.
All right. I'm awfully glad you dropped the round cake.
So am I.
I saw you sitting at the table out front while I was doing my number. I didn't think you came to take my picture.
Of course, it's no novelty for you to have your picture taken. You sit for Hal a lot.
Mm-hmm. Once a week regularly.
It must be love.
Oh, it's still nice to have someone else photograph me. How's this?
Fair?
Oh, not as attractive as Mr. Lawrence?
Oh, you're a different type.
Hal tells me it was quite a wedding.
Yeah. Were you with Hal before he went to it?
No, he was working.
I know, but, I thought you might have had lunch together.
Not today. This better?
Yeah, fine. But, don't cross your legs.
Oh.
And don't smile. We'll make this one sort of, pensive.
Oh, I couldn't look pensive if I tried.
Think of green fields and moonlight nights.
All right, but I still won't look pensive.
Hold it. That does it. Look for them in the express.
How many to take altogether?
7.
Can I have a set?
Sure. I'll drop them over to the towers. That's where you live, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Expensive.
Perhaps we could have lunch together.
And get Hal stored me.
We wouldn't have to have lunch there.
As far as that goes, we could have it here.
Yeah.
I never thought the Fantasy Club would have dressing rooms like this. This dressing room looks more like an apartment.
Just a few personal touches that I've added.
Just a few personal touches.
Mm-hmm.
Very elaborate. And those rocks I've been photographing on your lovely arms. They almost reach the elbows. They're real, I imagine.
Everything I wear is real.
I noticed that mink you were sporting around this past winter.
Do you like it?
Swell. Those foxes over there are nice, too. Oh, gosh, it must be great to have an income.
Are you kidding?
Well, you don't buy those things singing at nightclubs.
At least not one like this.
Why do you work in a nightclub, Ma? Apparently you don't have to.
Well, I like to be seen, and it's something to do. I don't have to tell you I'm not much as a singer.
But you're really something to look at.
Oh, thanks. Then, we have a date for lunch?
If it weren't for Hal, I wouldn't hesitate a moment.
Oh, forget Hal.
I'd like to marry sometime. How long have you two been going together?
Almost 2 years.
That's amazing.
Why? He's very generous.
Yeah, I can see that.
I like to live well. You don't know what it is not to have anything.
Oh, don't I?
I'd rather be dead than to live like some people.
Nothing but the best for you, huh, Mary?
Oh. Don't you think I deserve it?
Mm-hmm. But so do thousands of other girls in the world. There are girls who haven't even enough to eat.
Are you giving me a lecture?
No, but that's why we're not going to have lunch together. You're too expensive for me.
Perhaps to you, I wouldn't be too expensive.
It wouldn't last. You'd miss those lovely gifts that Hal passes out.
I still don't see any reason why we shouldn't see each other once in a while.
By the way, where is Hal?
Oh, he usually drops in around this time. Shall I tell him you were here?
Well, why not?
Would you like to wait for him?
No, I'll run along. I think I'll develop these pictures tonight.
Oh, that's wonderful.
The Express thanks you, and I thank you.
Do you think one of them might be on the theatrical page tomorrow?
The theatrical page? You underrate old Casey. There's a possibility you'll find one on the front page. So long. Hiya, Benny. Any payphones here?
Yeah, two of them. Over there by the section.
Oh, thanks.
Burke speaking.
Hello, Bert.
Casey, what do you think we're printing? The Boy's Companion? Where are you?
Phone booth at Benny's Fantasy Club. I just got some shots for the morning papers. And if I were you, I'd leave plenty of space on the front page.
Well, you'd better get back here with something soon, or I'll hold a 4-line spread in the obituary for you. What are the pictures? And what's suspected to have the benefit of your latest brainwave?
I just shot some pictures of the suspect's girlfriend. I'm on my way down to develop them. Now, unless I miss my guess, you'll be writing to the end of this story in tomorrow's paper. And by the way, you'd better get one of Logan's men down there. The way things look right now, Oh, hold on a minute. Here comes our friend. I think he's going to make a call in the booth next to me. Maybe I can catch part of it. Hold it.
Hello, Mr. Katz. You talked to me earlier tonight, then took some pictures of Mary. For his paper, he told me. But why at 1 in the morning? No, I'm certain he's the one. Okay. Yeah, I'll be careful. Where'll I come for the money? Above your antique shop on Sedgwick Avenue. You mean I've got to take care of him tonight? What do you think I'm made of? It was only this afternoon that I know, Mr. Cox, but I never expected that to happen. All right. You think so? I'll do it tonight. Now.
Hello, Brick. Did you hear that?
You moronic offspring of a printer's devil. You had your hand over that mouthpiece.
Of course I had my hand over the mouthpiece. Think I want you to take all the credit? Now get this. Send several of Logan's men over to Koch's antique shop on Sedgwick Avenue. Mr. Koch will be in the apartment upstairs. Pick him up. And I may need one of Logan's men while I'm developing these pictures.
After all the runaround you've given Logan, you know how he'll feel about sending a man out to protect you.
Okay, but you know what happens to your story if they miss Koch and our friend gets me?
Well, Logan will probably take that chance, but I'll ask him. And I doubt if a man could have time to get here anyway.
If that's the way it is, maybe you better frame that obituary in purple satin under glass. For me. So long.
Very dark, and Casey's in the dark, and this isn't the love.
You You're letting in a lot of light, Hal.
Afraid it'll spoil Mara's pictures?
Yeah. You want to see him?
No.
Why turn on the light?
I might miss you in the dark.
You seem to know your way around. What'd you do? Come up the back stairs?
I've been in the express building before.
Lonely at 2 in the morning, isn't it? And it's pretty steady.
So you finally noticed what it's holding?
I noticed it when you first opened the door. But, relax. Relax, Hal. We're old friends. John's the fashion magazine and Casey the Express. Just a couple of guys around town.
Cut it.
Got the same gun you used on the guard?
In one respect, it doesn't make much noise.
I see.
What made you suspect me, Casey?
I could have sworn that was coming. Why is it that all criminals insist on knowing why they were suspected? Well, if it'll gladden your heart, I'll tell you. It was a piano player. He said something which made me think of you and Mara. Then I thought of your salary as a photographer.
You made a mistake when you went back to the fantasy club the second time, Casey. You shouldn't have tried to pump Mara.
Doesn't she know what you're doing?
No.
Where'd you think the money came from?
She never asked.
Just as long as it came in, huh? But I don't think it was a mistake. I gambled that Mara would repeat our conversation word for word, except the part where I wouldn't take her lunch.
You're right.
Oh, no. Incidentally, the police picked up a friend of yours about 15 minutes ago. Named of Koch. Antique dealer over on the east side. Oh, I see that one hit home, huh? Well, you're all through, Hal.
Later, maybe, but right now you are.
Easy on the trigger, finger. You should hear it all. The big mistake is yours in coming here. I never had any evidence against you. Any real evidence. But I have now.
You'll never use it.
I've already used it. It's been used right now. You walk in this room staring straight at me with a gun in your hand. You should have looked behind the door. There's been a witness in this room all the time. In fact, right behind you now.
You think I'd fall for that whole gag?
It's not a gag.
You must think I'm dumb.
I guess you heard enough. Okay, have Logan come in.
You'll be dead when he gets here.
Han, where did you get that blackjack?
From Ethelbert. Quote, he who gets sucked over the beam is easy to arrest. Unquote.
Put down that American Mercury, Ethelbert, and draw me a beer.
It's not the American Mercury. It's...
I know. There's still one world.
Hiya, Miss Williams.
Hello, Ethelbert. Oh, thanks for the loan of the Twitter.
That's all right. She was really worried when you tore out of here, Casey.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Been busy, Ethelbert?
I had to break away from this book for a while tonight, but I managed to sandwich in a very interesting article.
Would you mind drawing my beer for me, Ethelbert? I want to sit over by Ernie and listen to a couple of numbers.
Not at all. But this article was about guys who steal industrial designs by photographing them. And you know what I think?
What?
Well, just for a starter, understand, they all ought to be socked over the head, but hard. Quote, he who gets clunked over the conch is out of commission and easy to put in the clink. Unquote.
Please, Ethelbert, our beer.
Yes, Ethelbert, our beer. And this time be sure he pays for it.
You've been listening to Flash Gun Casey, Press Photographer, the first of a new series of adventure programs based on the fiction character created by George Harmon Cox. This series is written by Ashley Buck in collaboration with Mr. Cox. The program tonight was directed by Albert Ward and produced for Columbia by Chester Rainier. Join us again next Wednesday night at this same time for another swift-moving story of a press photographer, Flash Gun Casey. The adventure, Murder Off the Record. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This I believe. Samuel R. Guard is the owner and editor of Breeder's Gazette, a livestock farming magazine on whose staff he started as a cub reporter. Born and brought up on an Ohio farm, Sam Guard has worked in enterprises related to agriculture all his life. This is his creed.
Achievement, like happiness, comes from within. You are what you believe. If you're a farmer, you can become a champion farmer if deep inside you will it so. My office is at the stockyards in Louisville, Kentucky. Farmers make my office a sort of headquarters. Farmers from the rich river bottoms, from the hillside grasslands, future farmers and gray-thatched farmers full of years. Oh, all kinds of farmers. But this one was somebody. He lugged a heavy suitcase. It was full of corn, yellow ear corn. He was a rugged but pleasant, broad-mouthed and wrinkled man, wearing a store tie that persisted in coming unhooked. In one hand a suitcase, and in the other hand a boy, a pleasant-looking country lad on the delicate side, his wide eyes full of wonderment, with eagles and stars and things all over his coat lapels, emblems from Sunday school, the 4-H club, the Junior Farm Bureau. "Mr. Sam," began the farmer, "I brought you some years. I read what you said about wanting us American farmers to grow 4 billion bushels of corn a year instead of 3 billion bushels, so as to feed everybody at home and abroad, so as to get some beefsteak to put on the peace table, so as to stop inflation. This is my son, Cletus Rao, Mr. Guard. I'm his 4-H leader at Burgett, Kentucky, way up in the mountains. I'm the schoolteacher up yonder, too. Cletus raised this corn on a measured acre, and we thought you'd like to have some to decorate your office." With that, he opened the cheap suitcase and displayed the gleaming yellow corn. Was I tickled? "How many bushels did Cletus raise on that measured acre?" I asked too casually. "I had 24,696 stalks on that acre, Mr. Guard. It weighed out 233 2/10 bushels, piped Cletus Rao. I almost fell out of my chair. Why, that's more corn than any farmer, man or boy, in this whole United States grew on any solid acre of ground last year. That must have been a mighty rich acre of ground, was all I could think of saying. Not especially, Mr. Jim Henry Rao gave me to understand. He told me how he literally made that ground himself. You see, when Pappy died, he left me 25 acres, worth $10 an acre. I saved a little out of my teaching salary of $201 a month and bought 75 acres more, including this acre of Cletus corn by the creekside. That was 16 years ago. Then he went on to explain how he took care of that land year after year, enriching the soil and enlarging the yield. 15 years from mountain land, poor as Job's turkey, to the highest solid acre of harvested corn on the globe. He became a champion farmer, the champion corn farmer of the USA. He kept the faith. So I believe that achievement is within each of us. As the Master said to the Pharisee, the kingdom of God is within you. You are what you believe.
That was Samuel R. Guard, who lives on a 13-acre farm at Anchorage, Kentucky, a farm which he calls Little Meadows, since it is a typical bit of Daniel Boone's Great Meadows.
Crime does not pay.
Sure, I like you a lot, Happy. I like the way you laugh all the time, too.
Yeah? I like to laugh. I have fun. Lots of it.
I don't think your kind of fun is nice fun, though, Happy.
What gave you that idea, baby?
It's your eyes, Happy. You don't laugh in your eyes.
You'll get used to me, baby. You'll have to. On account of you saw me in Cottonmouth with the rifle, see?
But you said it was for hunting.
Sure it was for hunting, sugar. You don't think that jerk across the street just dropped dead, do you? From lead poisoning, maybe?
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear Death on the Doorstep, starring Donald Curtis. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Donald Curtis as Happy Dick Davis in Death on the Doorstep. The workings of organized crime are far more complicated than most people realize. Not only is the nation divided into districts, each with its own administration, but the large cities are split up that way as well. And any boss in any district may request help, at a price, of course, from any other boss, to settle his present difficulties. That's how it happened that Happy Dick Davis, specialist in executions, went south for the winter. Happy took the train he felt flying was too risky for himself. And in due course, he was met at the station and driven to the local headquarters.
Here he is, boss. Happy Dick Davis himself. In person.
As ordered, boss. As ordered.
Glad to see you, Happy. Sit down. Smoke?
Don't mind if I do.
Start talking, Happy. How do you operate?
Depends.
On what?
Situation. If I can get in close, I like to use a piece of sash cord. For distance, I like a rifle with a telescopic sight.
Kind of noisy, a rifle.
Not with a silencer, it ain't.
I told you, boss. What a man.
Thanks.
What's your plan for here?
Who's the character you want?
Name C.D. Stone. Stooley.
Stoolies die slow up north.
No, we got no time. This bummer's talking our best men into a 10-year rap. Federal, too. He's got to go. And quick.
Who's the finger man?
Cotton here. Give it.
Okay. Your pal C.D. handy?
Cotton?
I know where to find him.
Okay. Let's ride. One thing, though.
Yeah.
Why'd you send for me?
Not that it's any of your business, but we wanted somebody from out of town. All my trigger boys are shacked up with perfect alibis this minute. They're staying that way until the job is done.
Telephone them, boss. Tell them they can come out of the woodwork tonight. Not much of a town you got here, Cottonmouth.
We do all right. 40,000 folks. 13 schools, 4 movies, 2 libraries, and 87 churches.
Well, what for all them churches?
Nothing else to do Sundays is all.
What do you do for fun?
We'll show you when the job's done.
It ain't gonna get done walking the streets like this.
C.D. hangs out in a couple of these pool rooms. He'll be out along soon.
Oh. Why do they call you Cottonmouth?
The cottonmouth is the snake with the most poison in the swamps around here. Take it for yourself.
I get it. Look, if I'm supposed to do this job alone, are you going to tag along after we find this jerk?
Yep.
What for?
Boss's orders.
Why?
He says you laugh too much.
You guys don't trust nobody, do you?
Nope.
Uh-huh. What about your alibi?
Airtight. She'll swear on a stack I was with her. She'll wish it was true.
Tomorrow night. That's a promise.
Thanks, pal. You know, one of these days I'm going to marry that dame. Hey, look at that.
Huh?
C.D.
Which one?
In the cap. Casing the move.
I see. Kind of scrawny. Shouldn't be no trouble.
Oh, he's going inside. Next, he's going to the movies.
Come on.
Hey, you going after him in there?
Yeah, I want to blow this dump. All them churches must have funeral parlors attached.
But the joint will be packed. They got a western.
All the better. I'll get him with the rope, and we'll get out before anybody knows nothing. After they find him, it'll be a mob scene. Nobody will remember nothing.
Brother, you sure know your business.
Yep, that's why the price is high.
How many did you wish, please?
2, baby. You for me, and a friend of yours for a friend of mine.
How many tickets, big boy?
So did I, till I caught the look in your lamps, kid.
Say, you must be from out of town.
How'd you guess?
Hey, if we're going in, Happy, we better get
My friend here's afraid he missed the shooting.
Here you are. 70 cents, please. Thank you, sir.
Don't mention it. 70 cents for two. Cheap down here. Come on, Cotton. Did you see your pal, Seedy? Looking at the cheesecake and the pictures in the lobby here? He just went in this minute. Come on. 2 tickets, right here.
There he is. Turn down the aisle. Hey, that's me. He's sitting on the aisle in the last row.
Is it?
How can I reach him with the rope? Why do they build these walls back at the last row? Keeps out drafts, I guess. What do we do, Happy? Wait till he comes out?
No. I want to get this job over with. Hey, that ought to do it.
What ought to do it?
A fire axe. There on the wall. Hold everything.
Hey, Happy, don't try it.
Nice heft to this. One clunk and boom.
Happy, if you miss.
I ain't gonna miss. Now watch this. This is gonna be a cinch.
Hap, look out. He's getting up.
Oh, for the love of Mike.
The dope must have seen another seat down front.
Yeah, of course. All my life I wanted to do a job with a fire axe, and now the jerk has to be a movie house seat jumper.
Oh, you didn't get him. This time.
Right. First time I ever had anything like that happen to me. This job must be a hoodoo.
Could happen to anybody, Hap. You work out of this world. You don't miss a trick.
But I'll miss my train if I keep shooting the breeze.
Train? What train, my friend?
Next train, north. Sorry, boss.
I paid good money for this job.
You'll get a refund. My outfit guarantees delivery or your money back.
I told you I wanted this thing taken care of now. Seedy's got to be put away.
Not by me.
By you.
Any ideas on how?
I have. Now, never mind your newfangled ideas. Cottonmouth will get you a car. You can park in front of Seely's rooming house and let him have it first thing in the morning. If you haven't got a piece, I'll give you one.
No cowboy jobs for me. Too many things can happen.
Cowboy jobs?
Yeah. Fire away, car in gear, take the corner on 2 wheels. Hi-oh, silver. Not me. No cowboy jobs. That's out.
You got a better idea, son?
Sure I have. What's across the street from Seely's place?
Another rooming house? What else?
Good enough. If we can't get a front room, we'll use the roof. You see, pals, my favorite piece of luggage for a trip like this is the sweetest Springfield 3030 you ever saw, complete with telescopic sight and silencer.
Hello, Mr. Davis.
Hiya, kid.
My name's Selma. I told you that, Mr. Davis.
Yeah, and mine's Happy. I told you that.
I know.
Then why don't you use it, baby? Stop being so formal.
My ma always told me to call a man friend Mister. It's more polite.
Didn't your mother ever tell you about coming into a fellow's room by yourself and closing the door?
Ma tells me about that every day. But you're not just a roomer, Happy. You're from New York.
Come here, baby. How old are you, Selma, baby?
21. Why?
Well, because, kid, it's a rule up where I come from that you always ask the landlady's daughter her age before you kiss her. Like this.
Oh, Happy. I'm so happy.
That's me, kid. Yeah, happy makes him happy, coast to coast. You know, kid, this is about the best layout I ever volunteered for.
Volunteered for?
Didn't I tell you? The firm I work for always gives us salesmen a chance to volunteer for a tough territory to show how good we are. We make good, we get a bonus. I usually volunteer, and sister, you ought to see my bank account.
Well, if you're a salesman, why do you stay here all day and play with that rifle?
Just waiting for my customers. And thought maybe I'd get a little hunting in.
Oh, it's late for the season now.
I like to case the explored territory, that is. Give us another kiss, baby.
Ma says I should always watch my step.
Oh, she does, huh?
What's that funny thing on the end of your rifle?
Oh, that's a recoil over, like they had on the tank guns during the war. Saves my shoulder from the recoil.
That must be a mighty powerful rifle, Happy. Tell me about rabbits, maybe a deer.
Beg your pardon, miss.
Oh, that's perfectly all right.
How are you, Mr. Jackson? Happy to see you so soon. Selma, this is the customer I was telling you about.
Oh, well, excuse me. Ma'll be wondering anyhow. Happy to know you, Mr. Jackson.
Same here, miss. Who's the dame?
Landlady's daughter. Well, what's cooking?
He'll be out in a minute. Was up on his landing. Heard him tell his wife he needed cigarettes, so I came right over.
Great. Now, the windowsill makes a perfect rest for the rifle.
Where do you want me, Happy?
On my left, behind. Where you can see, but you won't get in my way.
Okay here?
Okay. Perfect. The telescope puts that doorway right in this room. Is that him?
No. Not yet. That's him, Happy.
That's his last cigarette he's lighting. Like the top sergeant says, squeeze the trigger.
Out of this world, Happy. Beautiful. Boy, ain't a silence or something?
Yep, clean. Right between the eyes. Come on, Cottonmouth. Let's blow. The back way. This neighborhood ain't going to be healthy for us in about 10 minutes.
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with Death on the Doorstep. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Donald Curtis as Happy Davis in Death on the Doorstep. A man quietly and silently dead in a doorway attracts much less attention than one would believe. Happy Davis knew this and took full advantage of it. Thus, Happy and Cottonmouth were safely and gaily celebrating their achievement in the big shot's quarters by the time the first sirens announced the arrival of the police at the scene of the crime. And it was almost 3/4 of an hour after C.D.'s death that Sergeant Taylor of the local homicide squad straightened up from bending over the body and
get
said,
back there. Come on, get back.
All right, Hall. Guess we've done about everything we can at this point.
Looks like it, Sergeant.
Simpson?
Yes, sir.
Got good, clean prints from the body?
Yes, sir, but there's no doubt of it. He's C.D. Stone, all right. Another stoolie they caught up with.
There are plenty more where C.D. came from, but we can't let him get away with this. They'll feel too free with the others, so we got work to do.
No weapons around here. I got the boys checking sewer gratings up and down the street.
Sure a neat job. One hole right between the eyes.
I wonder now. From the way he fell, he was facing the street.
Usual finger job. He came out of the house, stopped on the doorstep. He was pointed out. They let him have it. Off they go. Any stolen cars been reported since yesterday?
Anybody around here notice a car or hear a shot?
Checked. Not even a backfire.
Look at the position of the wound. Above the bridge of the nose.
Yeah.
Now, how'd they get him there? If they fired from street level, while he was standing here, 4 steps up.
Maybe from the side.
No, not a chance. Directly from in front.
So, they walked up to him first.
No. Give me a hand here. Lift him up. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Now face him out toward the street.
This way?
Yeah. Now, you see what I mean? The angle was down. He was shot from above.
Airplanes now?
Kate, put him down.
Right.
Let the meat wagon have it. I think we're going visiting. Across the street. See what I mean, Hall? Vacancy. Somebody's moved out.
Yes, sir.
Your sign says vacancy.
Yes, sir.
You the landlady?
No, sir, my mother is. She's out.
Can we see the room?
Well, it's just a double.
Only 2 of us here. Yes, my friend Simpson here has a place to stay.
All right, you can come in. It's the 3rd floor front.
3rd floor front.
This room been vacant long?
No, sir, just about an hour. Not even cleaned up yet.
What a break.
Oh, that won't bother us. You notice the excitement across the street, miss?
No, I didn't. I got so mad the fellas had the room. They left a week's rent on the bureau and beat it. Didn't even say goodbye. Anything happened?
Yeah. Somebody got shot right across the street.
Of all things. Person's life isn't safe anywhere these days.
Oh, this person knew he was taking chances.
This is the room.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Want to look it over, fellas?
Yeah.
Thank you. Not a bad view. Front room and everything. You see, miss?
What?
They're taking the body away now.
It's too bad the room was left. They'd have seen everything.
Yes, wouldn't they? And very neat, were they? Cigarette butts on the floor and all.
Sergeant, found this right near the window.
Looks like we picked the right place.
What? That's a bullet.
No, it's a shell, miss.
Happy had a rifle here with a funny thing on the end. He said it was a shock absorber or something.
Silence,
Yeah, must have been.
You don't want to rent this room. You're cops.
Yes, miss. Sergeant Taylor, homicide. It's Detective Hall, Detective Simpson.
How do you do, miss?
Apparently, the man who was killed across the street was shot from up here.
Oh, no.
Did you know this, Happy well?
Well enough.
A local fella?
Well, his friend, Mr. Jackson, sounded like he came around here, but Happy, he came from New York. He told me.
Well, look, miss, I have an idea. You don't have to play along if you don't want to. I have a hunch you'll be interested. Now, you listen closely.
You couldn't know how neat it was. See these stops on the stoop. See, like a cigarette. That's all. Right between the eyes.
Sure you got away clean?
Clean as a whistle.
Good. Back perfect. I got a little something for you, Happy. Sort of a bonus.
Oh.
A G-note for yourself.
Hey, that's all right. Some jobs are worth volunteering for.
You gonna take the night train, Happy?
Well, you might as well. I'll let your boss know what a great job you did.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll stick around a few days.
Hey, it's the dame, boss.
What dame?
The landlady's daughter.
That sort of thing ain't safe, Happy. Dames is poison, south or north.
That babe don't know from nothing. Except that a fellow from New York is different. Well, he talks different anyhow.
Well, so can she.
Don't worry, boss. Say, can I use the phone?
Well, you're on your own now. Go on, help yourself.
Thanks. You know, can't get used to dialing only 4 numbers. New York, we got 7.
Hello?
Hi, Selma.
Oh, it's you.
Surprise, baby.
You walked out awful quick, Happy.
I come into some money awful quick. How's about helping me get rid of it tonight?
You mean dancing, maybe?
Nothing else but. Pick you up, say, 8 o'clock?
8? All right, honey, I'll be ready and waiting. Bye.
See you later, kid. See what I mean, fellas? Talk different, and a dame is a lead pipe cinch.
This sure is a smooth car, Happy. So big. I saw one like it in a movie.
Yeah, Hollywood's full of them.
Why are you stopping, Happy?
I got to park. According to the rule, when you're obligate like you got to park.
Oh, Happy, you're so funny sometimes.
Only sometimes.
Most of the time.
Sure is quiet out here. Not like the big town. Want to go to New York, Selma?
Me? New York? Who wouldn't?
Want to go with me?
So you can walk out on me like you did this morning?
I came back for you, didn't I?
Uh-huh. But next time, maybe you wouldn't come back.
What's the matter, baby? Don't you like me?
Oh, sure. Sure, I like you a lot, Happy. I like the way you laugh all the time, too.
So I like to laugh. I have fun. Lots of it.
I don't think your kind of fun is nice fun, Happy.
What gave you that idea, babe?
It's your eyes, Happy. You don't laugh in your eyes.
You'll get used to me, baby. Sure you will. You'll have to. On account of you saw me in Cottonmouth with a rifle, see?
But you said it was for hunting.
Sure it was for hunting, sugar. You don't think that jerk across the street just dropped dead, do you? From lead poisoning, maybe?
But I don't understand, Happy. Honest, I don't.
I'll draw you a diagram, kid. You got two choices, see? You can come with me and have fun, or you can stay here, permanent.
Could I maybe have just a little time?
Sure. Take all the time you want until tomorrow night. I'm going north on the night train, so you figure all you want and have your bag packed when I come for you.
But Happy,
That's the picture, kid. And it don't need no frame around it.
Just a minute. Happy, you did come back.
Told you I would, baby. Ready for the big town, sugar?
Well, I'll come on in the parlor, will you, Happy?
Okay, kid. Only make it snappy. We got 40 minutes to the train. Now, you ought to be darn glad you're getting away from the rubber plants and the doilies, sister.
Happy, I just don't know. That is, I'm not going with you.
You nuts or something?
I'm staying here.
That's the way you want it, huh?
Well, I can't leave my mother alone. Happy!
What's the matter, baby? It's only a piece of sash cord.
I know.
You want to stay here? Okay, you stay. This Berg's dead as a doornail anyway. You might as well stay here dead as alive.
That goes for you too, Happy. Hang him, man. What is it? Hey, take your hands off me. Oh, you ain't got nothing on me. You heard him, Davis. And you'll hear plenty before we're through.
I want a mouthpiece. You can't hold me.
Oh, can't we? I think can.
What charge, Flatfoot? What charge?
Keep a civil tongue in your head. You're charged with plenty. Murder of Cedar Stone, the attempted murder of this girl here.
You can't prove a thing.
We can prove the works, Davis. Cottonmouth is singing his head off. We traced a $1,000 bill you changed at the hotel this morning straight to the boss, and he's locked up, too. We got your prints and Cottonmouth from the room upstairs. We picked up your luggage from the check room at the station, your rifle included, complete with fingerprints. We got the shell you fired and the bullet. Can't prove anything, Davis? We got enough to fry you twice. But once will be quite enough. It usually is, in my experience.
Crime does not pay. Donald Curtis, who was starred as Happy Dick Davis in Death on the Doorstep, will be back with you in just a moment. Now, here in person is Donald Curtis.
It's apparent to my thinking, and as we have demonstrated, even calculated killers like Happy Davis are weak on the long run. But that run doesn't have to be long. It can be cut very short by courage and clear thinking of everyday citizens. Once they realize that organized crime feeds only on the indolence and carelessness of people like you and me. Think that through, and you'll understand that in our hands rests proof that crime does not pay.
Thank you, Curtis. Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark B. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Gart. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turtis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental.
This I believe. Samuel S. Bartlett is founder and headmaster of the South Kent School in Connecticut. Since 1923, he has found the job of guiding growing boys a continuing challenge to his energy and enthusiasm. For relaxation, he does a little surf casting in summer and duck hunting in winter. These are some of the things Samuel Bartlett believes.
During the first 25 years of my life, it was my good fortune to have a mother and father, the rector of my church, a headmaster, and a very close friend, all of whom were deeply sincere in their efforts to be good Christians. In my contacts with each of them, I soon found that they themselves were making a constant effort to live by the standards they expected of me, and that those standards did not come from a personal philosophy, but were imposed from without by an infinitely greater and more powerful being. I could see that they themselves failed at times to live up to those standards. At the same time, I could also see that they never stopped trying. I admired and respected them, and they represented the sort of person I wanted to be. As a youngster at school, I reasoned that if the proof of the pudding was in the eating, and these people represented what I wanted to be, it naturally followed that I could perhaps have a chance were I to try to live up to the same standards, using the same methods. As I grew older and was faced with more and greater responsibility, I found it necessary, because of my profession, to try to explain to old and young why I thought and acted as I did. It was then that I began reading the Bible, especially the New Testament, and Thomas à Kempis, The Imitation. And there it all was, told in simple language that almost anyone could understand. The Creator endowed each one of us with certain talents. If we are content to act in a simple, straightforward way, being ourselves and not trying to be someone else, I believe we have at least made a start on the road to happiness and contentment. There is nothing, especially the young, spot sooner than insincerity. I believe that the Lord will provide. In my work as a schoolmaster, trying to build up a school, I have seen it work too many times for it to be merely chance. Likewise, as the head of a family of 5 children, I have found the same to be true. I suppose one could call it faith. To me, the thought that there is no life after death is untenable. I also believe what Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount, and that if I try to do the job as I think he would want me to, any real problems I am faced with will be solved, provided that I keep on trying and do not quit. Some years ago, at the end of the summer, we were preparing to return home from Cape Cod. Since as a schoolmaster I had received no pay during the summer, we had scraped the bottom of the barrel, and there was no cash available to buy gasoline or food on the way home. My good wife was somewhat concerned about how we were to relieve the pangs of hunger in the 5 children during our 250-mile trip. With the thought in mind of borrowing from my friends at the gas station, I said that the Lord will provide, and went on with my job of sweeping up. As I passed the broom under a bureau in one of the bedrooms, what should come forth but a $10 bill? Perhaps the wind had blown it there a few days earlier. Perhaps also one of the holy angels, bored with things and wanting a bit of fun, had, with his tongue in his cheek, put it there. At any rate, to this day, whenever the family talk gets on to subjects such as school or college expenses, or the wherewithal that the summer vacation may come from, someone is sure to sing out, "The Lord will provide." And the interesting part of it is, he always has.
That was Samuel S. Bartlett, headmaster of the South Kent School. 5 children and the sympathetic understanding of his fellow humans give him unusual qualifications for his job.
Calling all detectives. A set of Shakespeare, a page from a calendar, and 5 cents. Those are the exhibits on this page from my casebook. The casebook of Jerry Browning, private detective. A private detective like me, Jerry Browning, knows that the amount of money involved isn't what determines the importance of a case. I got 15 who'll say 17. Thank you. 17 once, 17 twice, 17 3 times. This handsomely bound set of Dickens work sold for $70. There were two kinds of people at the auction rooms of Clyde and Wilson. Bargain hunters and sensation hunters. Because the personal effects of the late Bertram Cooper were up for sale. He'd committed suicide, according to the papers, for reasons that were never very clear. And now, friends, I've got up for sale this fine set of it. Just a moment, folks. You, mister. You've been standing up front just watching for the last hour. Did you come in here to buy or get warm? It wasn't until I glanced around that I realized the auctioneer was talking to me. He reached behind him, picked up a small red volume from a table littered with Cooper's books. Here, cheapskate, I got a buy for you. One book, one nickel. Catch it. I picked the book up off the floor. Okay, businessman, it's a deal. Here, catch the nickel. I pocketed the book, pushed my way out through the crowd. I'd attended the auction only because I wasn't satisfied with the newspaper accounts of Cooper's death. Thought maybe I might pick up a few crumbs of information. I took my purchase back to the office and discovered it was a loose-leaf notebook. All the pages were blank. But inserted midway was a torn page from a calendar with notations in handwriting that said, Tuesday, Orphans Welfare Donation. 2 p.m., Emil, till TLR. Wednesday, 11, Blood Bank. 7 p.m., Carlin's Civic League dinner. All these were scrawled notations of appointments Cooper must have made. Nothing remarkable about them except that they were appointments for days after his death. According to this, Cooper had planned to be very much alive. I bought a book from the estate of a man supposed to have killed himself and found that he had detailed plans for the future. The first notation on Cooper's calendar sheet was about a donation he'd intended to make to the Orphans' Welfare Fund the day after he died. At the orphanage, the director told me, Mr. Cooper's death came as a great shock. Frankly, we were counting heavily on his donation. He'd always been generous. Let me ask you a frank question, sir. Do you suppose he killed himself because he couldn't make good on his promise to you?
Certainly not. We never solicit contributions. Mr. Cooper volunteered his. In fact, he called me personally and made the appointment you asked me about.
Those do not sound like the actions of a man about to commit suicide. It wasn't hard to figure out the second notation on the calendar sheet. 2 p.m., Emil, TLR. Emil was one of the best custom tailors in town. Had his place on the 8th floor of the Foster Building.
Mr. Cooper? Oh, non, monsieur, positively non. No appointment with Monsieur Cooper for Tuesday last. One suit I made for him. A magnificent cashmere 5 years ago. I have not seen him since.
That wasn't so good. I left Emil's place, made a mental note to check on him after I'd verified Cooper's other appointments. Both other appointments checked out. At the blood bank, I was told
Mr. Cooper was a regular donor. His health? Excellent. Nobody in ill health is permitted to give blood.
At the Civic League, where Cooper had been supposed to attend a dinner, I learned
Mr. Cooper was scheduled to be the principal speaker at the Collins Civic League dinner. And that's why we couldn't understand his sudden, death. He was a man who never broke a promise.
Cooper had made notations of 4 appointments for the 2 days following his supposed suicide. Only the one with Emil, the tailor, failed to check. I took the calendar sheet down to headquarters, brought Lieutenant Dawson up to date on what I'd been doing. Together, we took the sheet of paper into the police lab. The image on the screen is an enlargement of the penciled notation in question. It's been enlarged 5 diameters. Hey, Dawson, look. Those 3 letters, TLR, and the name ahead of them, Emil. I don't think they're parts of the same notation. There's a period after Emil. I see that now.
So do I, Jerry. But if it doesn't refer to Emil, what does TLR stand for?
It could be the abbreviation for a name that Cooper didn't want to spell out.
Okay, so what now?
Now we do some checking into Mr. Cooper's background. Way background. Cooper checked back easily. 5, 10, 12 years, and that's all. Previous to 12 years ago, he apparently hadn't existed, which meant he'd had some other name. Maybe I couldn't have bridged the gap myself, but when you're working with the police, you're working with people who don't care how long it takes to dig up a fact. They get paid by the year.
We traced it, Jerry. Cooper's name used to be George Endicott. Came from upstate.
Endicott, eh? Well, that's a good, honest name. Why would a man want to change it? Jerry, why don't you go upstate and find out? I found out. A woman had been dissatisfied with a marriage to a humdrum husband in a small town. She'd left him to marry another man who changed his mind. She killed that man and drew a sentence of life imprisonment. I visited Mrs. George Endicott in the state penitentiary for women. Her first name was Emile. She didn't know her husband was dead. Didn't even know he'd changed his name. The letters TLR meant nothing to her, but they meant plenty to me now. They meant that some person whose name could be abbreviated as TLR knew about Emmeline and about George Endicott, who'd made a new, respectable life for himself as Bertram Cooper. We found that person. Lawrence Taylor, spelled Taylor. He'd been a court stenographer at Mrs. Endicott's trial. These days he had a more profitable business, blackmail. The police picked up Taylor, smashed a feeble alibi attempt for the day of the murder, and after a while, he confessed. His bank accounts were the giveaway. He'd blackmailed Cooper for years, until Cooper finally decided to go to the police, accept notoriety rather than blackmail. He made an appointment with Taylor to tell him about that decision, but Taylor anticipated it, came around the evening before, and shot Cooper, made it look like suicide. That's all there was to the case. I got no credit, no fee. In fact, it cost me a nickel. But, like I said, everything's stacked against a killer. And he can forfeit his life because of something no more important than 5 cents. Listen next time to Calling All Detectives. Mystery drama, mystery quiz, and a chance for you to match wits with yours truly, Jerry Browning, Private Detective.
Out, dead tired. But I kept on walking through the mist. And suddenly I started hearing footsteps behind me. I turned around, and then I saw him. He was walking along slow, dragging his feet, walking as if he couldn't see. His face was all covered with blood. But I knew who it was. It was Miller, the guy I'd killed.
Midnight, the witching hour when the night is darkest. Our fears the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute then. The Dead Come Back. Midnight. Tales of mystery and terror by radio's masters of the macabre. Our story by William Morwood will threaten your sanity. Its title, The Dead Come Back. About 1 o'clock in the morning, on a dark, deserted street, standing in the doorway of a gloomy brownstone house, a man with a wild expression on his face rings the bell desperately. There is no answer, and he rings again. Then...
Hey, Doc Paget.
Why, yes.
The brain doc knows what goes on inside a guy's head?
Well, yes, I'm a psychiatrist.
I gotta talk to you.
It's very late. If you come back tomorrow during office hours...
Now, Doc. Something's been happening to me. Something that's driving me nuts.
I'm sorry, but...
Get inside.
Be careful with that.
It won't go off till I pull a trigger. Better sit down, Doc.
Very well.
Now, just to make sure we understand each other, I'll put this gun here on the desk. And my watch. We got just half an hour to get everything cleared up.
And then?
And then, I got a guy to kill.
Suppose we start at the beginning. Your name?
Lefty O'Connor.
O'Connor?
So you heard of me, huh?
I'm not sure, but the Tilson murder case.
That's right.
But as I remember...
That's right. They decided I was nuts, put me away. But get this straight, Doc.
Yes?
I was never out of my head, and I ain't now.
I see.
Insanity was something that I cooked up to keep from burning. I played it up all right. Good enough to make monkeys out of the doctors and the jury. But when I got to the nut house, it was different. I didn't have to pretend no more. You know, Doc, some of them whacks act just as sane as you and me. Yeah, I was getting along fine. Till 2 nights ago, when I was called in to see the superintendent. He was a white-haired old guy, named Miller.
Sit down, Lefty. Cigarette?
Thanks, Mr. Miller.
Here you are.
What's that?
This? Just a music box. Plays when you open the lid.
That ain't just a... What are you trying to do to me?
Oh, what do you mean, Lefty? I just offered you a...
That's the box I kept talking about at the trial. The one old Mrs. Tilton kept her jewels in.
I'm afraid you're mistaken, Lefty.
In a pig's eye. I know what you're trying to do. But I don't remember nothing. Nothing, you hear?
And why does this tune seem to disturb you, sir?
Never mind why. Turn it off.
Yes, folks. Take it easy, Lefty. I called you in here because I want to help you.
You're trying to trick me into admitting I knew what I was doing when I hit old lady.
Nothing of the kind.
Next you'll be asking me where I hid the jewels. Don't you think I know that routine?
There's no routine here, Lefty.
You're a liar, Mr. Miller. You got me in here to give me the 3rd degree, to try to break me down all over again. Well, you won't do it. Not again.
Lefty, put down that paperweight.
So light. I didn't have no idea of escaping when I hit him, Doc. I was just scared. I was scared of what would happen if he kept after me. When I found a gun in his desk drawer, I began making plans fast. I brought him around and told him exactly what he had to do. We went out, got into his car, started for the gate. Okay, Miller, it's up to you now.
I understand.
Now remember, I'll be lying back here with this gun against your spine.
Evening, Mr. Miller.
Hello, George.
Going out kind of late, aren't you, sir?
Yes. Something unexpected came up.
You wouldn't be smuggling out anyone under that rug in Baxter, huh?
I might.
Yep, looks suspicious. Just the right shape for a man. But I'll take a chance on you, sir. Okay, Charlie. Open up for the super. Okay, open it up. Good night, Mr. Miller.
Turn the left fork here.
The Ganville Road. I was afraid of this, Lefty. The Tilson Estate's up this way, isn't it?
You're too smart for your own good, Mr. Miller. You can turn off here.
There's no road.
In under the trees.
All right. What happens now? Do we walk the rest of the way?
One of us does. Get out. You're no use to me anymore.
Let you know. Put that gun away. You can't. You fool. You won't get rid of me this way. You...
I left him there beside his car and started walking. I don't know how long I was at it. Maybe an hour when I hit the outskirts of town. The light was kind of funny. It was different from anything I'd ever seen. It was kind of yellow. Kind of yellow mixed with a mist that was curling up. Maybe I was tired, I don't know. But suddenly I began to hear footsteps behind me. I looked around, and then I saw him. He was walking on the other side of the road, blind, as if he couldn't see where he was going. His feet were kind of dragging along. His face was covered with blood. But through the blood, I could see that it was him. Miller. I don't know what happened then, Doc. I must have passed out. Because the next thing I knew, somebody... people, faces bending over me.
He's coming to, Tom.
Yeah. How are you feeling, chum?
Hey.
He's as white as if he'd seen a ghost.
Who are you?
I'm Ruth Mason. This is my brother, Tom.
We live right by. We heard you yell and came running out.
Did you see anyone else?
I
I know.
The road?
No. You were lying right in the middle of the road till we pulled you off. What happened? The car hit you?
I don't remember.
Well, take his arm. Help him up, Tom.
Okay, sure.
Here we go, Mo. The name is Sims. Johnny Sims. I'm all right.
You look kind of bushed to me.
I've been walking all night. Out of a job, see, and broke.
Well, our house is right over there. You come on in and we'll...
Thanks. I gotta keep moving.
What's the rush if you're just looking for a job?
Well, Hey,
cops coming this way.
Probably looking for that man that escaped from the state hospital.
That's right. They said that.
But, Johnny, what's the matter? You look as if you're going to faint again.
I guess I must be worse than I thought. Look, does that invite still hold?
Well, of course. Right this way. Something more, Johnny?
No, thanks, Ruth. Couldn't manage another thing. Full up.
Oh, well, then you lie right down on that sofa. That is, if Tom will get off with his paper.
Oh, sure. I was just reading some more about that guy, Lefty O'Connor, that broke out of the asylum. Seems he forced the superintendent to drive him out in a car.
Please, Tom, let's not talk about it. It gives me the creeps to think of anyone like that being loose.
Maybe he ain't so bad.
He's a murderer, Johnny. A homicidal maniac.
How do you know? Maybe the super deserves killing.
The super?
Yeah.
But the paper doesn't say anything about the super being killed.
Well, Ruth said...
I meant the old lady, Mrs. Tilson.
Oh. Yeah, I guess I must have heard. Maybe I just thought...
I'll try the radio. Maybe there's some late news on it. Though you're probably right, Johnny. The super wouldn't stand a chance.
Sure. Way I figure.
What's the matter, Johnny?
Turn that off.
What?
I said turn it off.
Why?
Johnny.
Hey, what gives?
Well, I'm sorry. But I don't like radio.
Oh, it's all right, Johnny. We understand. Now suppose we show you to your room and you take a good long sleep.
I must have slept like a dead man, Doc. It was dark when I woke up. There was nobody in the house. I switched on the lamp and looked at my watch. A few minutes before midnight. I didn't have much time if I wanted to get the jewels and blow town before morning. So I started for the door, but before I reached it opened. And standing there, smiling, kind of sad-like, was Miller.
Hello, Lefty. Did you get the jewels?
You? It can't be you. You're dead.
I told you wouldn't get rid of me so easily.
What do you want with me?
Nothing, Lefty. Just what I wanted before. To help you.
You're lying. You still think you can break me, get me to confess, but I'll show you. I must have hit the lights, Doc, or maybe they were never on, because suddenly the room was all dark. I struck a match. I bent down to look at Miller, make sure that he was really dead this time. And I ain't crazy, Doc. You gotta believe me. But the man lying face up on the floor was Tom Mason.
A dead man who came back. And now, a second victim, as the hand of the clock moved inexorably to the witching hour. And yet another.
Murder at midnight.
And now, back to Murder at Midnight. To Lefty O'Connor, sitting in the psychiatrist's office with a gun in front of him, trying to convince the doctor and himself that he is sane.
My hand was shaking so much that the match went out. It was Tom, all right. Tom Mason, dead. But it was better that way than what I'd thought, because it meant that Miller hadn't come back from the grave. I'd probably just imagined I heard him talking to me. I frisked Mason, I got the keys to his car, and went out. There was a little coupe parked in the driveway. I opened the door. I was just getting in when...
Hello, Johnny.
Ruth.
You look a little better than you did before. How do you feel?
Oh, fine.
Oh, well, that's good. You were sleeping so soundly when I left it. Are you going somewhere?
Well, yeah. There was something I had to do, and Tom told me I could borrow his car.
Oh, all right. I'll go inside.
No, you can't go in there.
Well, what do you mean? Why not?
Well, I mean, such a swell night. How about a little drive, Ruth?
Well, what about your errand?
Well, that'll just take a minute. It'll be swell having you along.
Well, I don't know. I don't suppose Tom will mind.
I'm sure he won't.
Well, then, all right. I guess that's one of the wonderful things about life. You just never know when something completely unexpected will happen.
That's right, baby. You just never know.
Why so quiet, Johnny?
Huh?
You asked me to come driving with you, and I do. You don't say a thing to me.
What should I be saying?
Well, you might start by telling me something about yourself.
Like I said, I'm just a guy looking for work.
What kind of a job did you have before?
Chauffeur?
Oh, that sounds interesting. Did you work around here?
Why?
I just wondered. You seem to know the roads so well.
Listen, baby, let's not talk about me. I'd rather hear about you.
Well, there's not much to tell. I'm 21, fancy-free, and I work for a living. I'm a nurse in a psychiatrist's office.
A what?
Psychiatrist. A doctor who, well, helps people who are disturbed mentally.
Like people who see things that ain't there?
Oh, yes, he gets a lot of those kind of cases.
What does he do?
Talks to the patients, explains away the hallucination. His name is Dr. Paget, and he's really wonderful. Johnny?
Yeah?
Where are we going?
Why, baby?
We've turned off the main road. This leads past the old Tilton mansion.
What's that?
The house where that terrible murder took place about a year ago. It's all boarded up now, of course.
Yeah, that's the job Lefty O'Connor pulled, huh?
Yeah, he was old Mrs. Tilton's chauffeur.
What?
Chauffeur.
Quite a coincidence, ain't it?
Johnny, you're turning in the driveway.
Yeah. See, a couple of nights ago, I broke into this place to sleep. It was just an empty house to me. I didn't know anything about no murder. I left the parcel behind. I want to pick it up.
Oh, I see.
You think I had any other reason for coming here?
No, Johnny.
Sit tight, baby. I'll be back in a minute.
All right, Johnny. Well, why are you taking the keys?
Just to make sure the car stays here, and you with it?
But of course I'll stay.
You better, baby. Or it'll be just too bad. Pulled the board loose from one of the windows. Climbed into the old house. It was black as pitch inside. That musty, shut-in smell. Felt my way along the wall to the stairs. Climbed to the second floor. The old lady's room was at the head of the stairs. It wasn't so dark in there. Windows hadn't been boarded, and the moonlight was coming in. And I saw that marble fireplace with a gargoyle in the middle grinning at me. So I picked up the poker and smashed into it. And there, behind where I pushed it past a loose brick, was a paper bag containing the jewels. I looked inside to make sure that everything was safe. Moonlight sparkled in them shiners. And Doc, suddenly out of nowhere it started. That music started. Stop it!
Johnny, where are you?
What? Oh! Ruth! Ruth, get her to stop. Mrs. Tilton, that tune.
What tune?
You mean you don't hear nothing?
Well, no, Johnny.
But you must. It's gone now.
Johnny, you're shaking all over. Johnny, what's that?
What's what?
Well, they're all over the floor. They look like diamonds, jewels.
Didn't I tell you to stay in the car? What are you doing up here?
I heard noises and you...
You were spying on me.
No, I wasn't, Lefty.
What did you call me?
Nothing.
So you guessed it, huh? Okay. I am Lefty O'Connor, and I came back for the jewels. But that information ain't traveling far. Not with you, anyway. Oh, I was rattled, Doc. The music did it. fat and everything else. I left the lying there, and I picked up the jewels and beat it. Started to car fast. Just about hit the main highway when the wheels started acting funny. I got out to look. It was flat. My luck had played out. If I took the time to change it, someone might come along, and just then I did hear a car coming. I froze, waiting for it to pass. Instead, it stopped, and...
Hi, Johnny.
Tom, Mick!
I got out as soon as I could. Which is the flat?
What? How did you know?
How did I know? Why, you just called me. You told me you couldn't find the tools. And...
I called you?
Oh, yeah. Don't you remember?
No, I don't. I couldn't have.
Of course, it's none of my business, Johnny, but look, you've been acting awful funny. I'm beginning to think maybe you ought to go see a doctor. Someone like Doc Padgett that Ruth works for.
There's nothing wrong with me. Nothing.
Okay. Get started with this, Jack. The rest of the tools are under the front seat. I'll get them.
No, wait.
Hey, what's this paper bag doing?
Give me that.
You're going in for pebble collecting, huh?
Pebbles?
Yeah, look at them.
Oh, they are pebbles, huh? Yeah? What's happening to me? Oh.
I don't know. But I told you don't look well. Hey, where are you going?
Hey, wait a minute. I told you that was a borrowed car. Get off that around, boy. I say get off. You're nuts, Johnny. You're nuts. You're crazy. Well, there it is, Doc.
Uh-huh.
That's the story. I kept hearing what he said. Tom. Over and over again. I'm nuts. I'm crazy. But I couldn't stand it anymore. So I looked you up in the phone book and I come over.
So what do you expect me to do, Lester?
Do? You're a brain doc. I'm not nuts. I know I'm not. Why am I seeing these things? What's happening to me?
Well, it's rather difficult to make a diagnosis this quickly, but I'd say that you were suffering from hallucinations because of a sense of guilt.
Guilt? About what?
Well, it probably started with that first murder, Mrs. Tilson. And it's been weighing, preying on your mind ever since. Now, if you could extrovert that, get it out of your system.
But I did.
That's true, but not as a confession with all that it takes. That's the only way you can achieve a complete catharsis.
Well, that's crazy.
All right. You wanted my advice, but you don't have to take it.
And you think... Okay, I did kill her. I knew all the time what I was doing. I waited for a night when there was only the two of us in the house, and then I beat her brains out with a tire iron. There, I said it, I told you.
Yes, Lefty. And I think that now I can promise you you'll never be troubled by hallucinations again.
You sure, Doc?
Quite sure.
That's good. Because... You remember I said that in half an hour I was going to kill someone?
Yes.
Well, the half hour is up. And you're the man.
Am I, Lefty?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Doc, but you know too much now. You're the only one who does. So...
I wouldn't, Lefty.
Why are you sitting there like that? I shot you.
Yes, Lefty, with blanks in your gun. All right, boy.
Take it easy, Lefty. We got you covered.
No. And Mason.
Did you get it?
Uh-huh. Every word.
The cops.
No kidding.
And the whole thing, letting me escape and everything that happened afterwards was just a trick.
That's right.
You wanted to show I wasn't nuts, get me to confess.
Smart boy. We made just one mistake, Lefty. Or rather, Ruth did. Following you into the Tilson mansion. She paid for that with her life. But now you're going to pay.
No.
Shut up. Yes, Lefty, for that and for the Tilson murder. And my only regret is that rats like you can only burn once.
Moving forward, the two prim-faced men take hold of Lefty O'Connor road. The road began when he first heard the clock in the old Tilson mansion strike 12 for
Murder at midnight.
Remember to be with us again when death's face peers out of the darkened windows of deserted houses and the clocks strike 12 for
Murder at midnight.
The part of Lefty O'Connor was played by Joseph Julian. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
This I believe. Dr. Saul K. Padover is a lively man, once assistant to the Secretary of Interior, a correspondent, wartime intelligence officer. He is now a teacher and author who has learned a lesson from history.
A candid statement of faith becomes for me a concentrated spiritual autobiography. My fundamental beliefs are the product of three converging influences that have been silently at work within my personality: history, America, and Jefferson. As a student of history, I have been impressed again and again by man's potentialities for good and evil. I spent my childhood in Vienna. The atmosphere of the dying Austrian Empire made me sensitive to comparative politics and history. Gradually, the conviction grew in me that man everywhere, regardless of race or region or climate, is his own worst enemy or best friend. By and large, human beings themselves create their own heavens or hells. They do so because of all the creatures on earth, they alone have the intelligence and imagination to change their environment. My first American home was Detroit. This great Middle Western metropolis, the very essence of 20th century American industrialism, stimulated my imagination. From the inspiring history of America, I have learned what goodwill, intelligence, and creative application can accomplish. It is one of my beliefs that the opportunities of social and human well-being in America are still inexhaustible. And this brings me to Thomas Jefferson. His influence on my spiritual and intellectual life has been continuous and pervasive. I think I know by now every word he has ever written. I feel inside me the very rhythm of his thought. His life and personality have been to me sources of spiritual strength and inspiration. Jefferson never failed me in any crisis. What I learned from him, in brief, has been an abiding faith in human potentialities. I would call this the religion of democratic humanism. Following Jefferson's optimistic faith, despite examples of horrors and bloodshed in recent times, I believe that man can and should be kind and just to his fellows, that man can and should strive for constant spiritual and social improvement, and keep the avenues of opportunity always open for himself and his fellow men. To state it negatively, I believe with all my heart that cruelty, injustice, and intolerance are social crimes that should be punished as severely as physical ones. It is a cardinal article of faith with me that there is no limit to what men in society can achieve. In this context, I believe that a good, just, and happy life cannot be accomplished in any society where power, political or economic, is monopolized in the hands of a single person or single group. I hold with Jefferson that only inside a democratic society, even if it is imperfect, can human beings make a successful effort to attain happiness. And finally, I believe that all these human goals are attainable by men of all races and creeds, and that, if we use our social intelligence and the ample tools of science, a day will come when there is no bloodshed, hatred, and diseases, and no slums and no poverty, and no destructive fears of the unknown.
That was Dr. Saul K. Padover, Dean of the School of Politics at the New School of Social Research in New York, a true and valuable disciple of another believing citizen named Jefferson.
What's the matter? What is it?
Another case for Nick Carter, master detective.
Yes, it's another case for that most famous of all manhunters, the detective whose ability at solving crime is unequaled in the history of detective fiction, Nick Carter, Master Detective. Tonight's curious adventure...
The Substitute Bride, or Nick Carter and the Mystery of the Night Ferry.
Here, take your hands off me. No, what are you doing? Let me go. Put me down. No, stop it.
Nick, there's a young man here to see you. Says he's an old friend of yours.
Well, hello, Nick.
Helen Marvin. Well, Helen, it's good to see you again. And what brings you to this part of the country?
I came east to get married, Nick.
Well, congratulations.
Now, wait a minute. I'm afraid your congratulations are a little premature.
What's the matter?
I don't know. I can't find her.
Can't find her? Well, what on earth do you mean by that?
Well, look, it's like this, Nick. Alice Evans and I have been engaged for about 4 years. But for the past 3 years, she's been living in South America with friends of her family. She was due back in this country yesterday on the Gallia, so I came on from Chicago to meet her. Her boat got in ahead of schedule, and my train was late, so we missed connections. I'd already told her I was coming, but in spite of that, she was gone by the time I got to the dock last night.
Didn't she leave any message for you?
No, not a word.
That's odd.
And she has no friends in this part of the country that she could stay with.
Well, didn't anyone at the boat know where she went?
Well, apparently not, Nick. The stewardess says a boy brought her a note, and as soon as she read it, she got dressed and went ashore. There was a taxi waiting for her, and she went off in it. An hour later, an expressman called for her trunks.
Perhaps she went to a hotel.
Hotel? But why should she do that when I told her that I'd meet her at the boat? No, Nick. Something has happened to her, I'm sure of it.
Nick, the morning paper says that there's a Miss Alice Evans registered at the Hamilton Park Hotel.
What's that?
Would that be the same girl?
Here, let me see that, will you, quick?
Right here.
Well, then she did go to a hotel. Oh, gee, what a fool I was for worrying you, Nick.
I'll think nothing of it, Alan. Glad you found her.
Well, if you don't mind, Nick, I think I'll...
Sure, go right ahead. I know how anxious you are to see her.
Hey, look, Nick, why don't you come with me? I'd like very much to have you meet her.
Well, Alan, this seems hardly the time to...
Oh, come on. No, Nick, come on. I want you to meet her. You'll like her.
Well, all right, if you insist. But I've heard it said that 3 is usually a crowd, especially after 2 of them been separated for 3 years. Taxi. Second and fifth, Rabbit. Well, Ellen, I gather that you feel that our visit to the young lady was not a complete success.
Nick, something's wrong. I don't know what.
So I noticed. That's why I stayed until you left.
Tell you she's changed. I can't put my finger on it, but she's different somehow.
3 years is a long time, Ellen. Some change would be quite natural.
Oh, but it isn't that kind of change, Nick.
Doesn't she look the same?
She does, and she doesn't.
You mean you don't think she is Alice Evans?
She must be. Yet,
then you're not sure.
I wish her father were here. He'd know immediately whether she's his daughter or not.
Where is he? Chicago?
I don't know. He told me he was meeting the boat, but as far as I know, he hasn't shown up. She said she hadn't seen him.
Well, he probably was delayed in getting away.
Look, you don't suppose anything could have happened to him, do you? You know, like so many rich men, he always carried several $100s with him.
Well, it's possible, of course, Ellen. Was there anything distinctive about his appearance?
Well, he's a shortish man, stout, white hair. Oh, yeah, he wore old-fashioned side whiskers.
Well, those should make him easy to identify. I'll have Lieutenant Riley get in touch with the Chicago police and see if they know anything about him.
Oh, good.
Then I'll have Patsy make the round of the hospitals here in town. I'll send Penny to the terminal and the ferries to see if we can pick up any information about him there.
Mm-hmm. Well, we ought to find out something that way.
And I think my next step will be to visit the galliard or dock. See what I can learn there. The main reason I'm taking you to see Miss Evans, Purser, is that I want you to tell me whether or not she's the girl who made the trip up from South America with you.
I understand, sir.
Now, you, the purser of the galleon, probably had as good a chance to see her as anyone.
Oh, why, yes, sir, but none of us saw her very much. She took ill right after we sailed and stayed in her room almost the entire trip.
But you say you'd be able to identify her positively.
Oh, yes, sir. I have an excellent memory for faces, and she was a real looker, she was.
Here's her hotel. Come on.
Righto, sir.
Here, we can take this elevator. 3, please. This is her floor. Her room's right across the corridor here.
Oh, come in, Mr. Carter.
Thank you, Miss Evans. You, of course, know this gentleman, Miss Evans?
Why, well, let me see.
Oh, it's hardly fair to expect her to remember me, Mr. Carter. She was so ill every time I saw her that I doubt if she'd ever really got a good look at me the whole voyage.
Oh, why, of course. Now I know who you are. You're one of the officers off the Gallia. We came up from South America together.
That's right, Mum. See, sir, she knows me right enough.
Oh, I knew I'd seen you somewhere. If I hadn't been so sick, I'd have remembered you at once.
I see. Well, Miss Evans, our call is really in the nature of business. The purser found a valuable lot of jewelry left behind in the ship, and I was called in to help find the owner. As it was near your cabin, we've come to you first.
I haven't missed any of my jewels, but I'll let you know if I do.
Thank you. Have you had any word from your father yet?
No, not a word. Do you suppose anything's happened to him?
What did he look like, Miss Evans?
Why, he was... Yes. I'll show you his picture. You can tell better by that. Here you are, Mr. Carter. That's my son. Are you a detective?
Yes, Miss Evans. I am.
Then you must find him for me. I don't care what it costs.
Very well. I'll see what I can do. Shall we go, Purser?
Oh, yes, sir. Good day, miss, and good luck to you.
Goodbye, and thank you.
I'll let you know as soon as I learn anything, Miss Evans. Good day. Well, Purser, was that the Miss Evans who made the trip with you in the Gallia?
Oh, positively, sir. I know her anywhere.
You're sure?
There's no question whatever, sir. I'd swear to it on a stack of Bibles afoot, I would.
I couldn't find a thing, Nick. There's nobody in the hospital who answers to the description of Mr. Evans.
I hardly expected you'd find anything, Patsy. But we had to be sure.
Well, did the Chicago police know anything about him?
Riley said they had no report of anything having happened to him there. What did Penny find?
Oh, Penny hasn't come in yet.
Oh, hey, Nick. I couldn't find any traces of the old boy at the terminal, but I did find something at the ferry.
What'd you find?
Oh, that'll keep, Nick. Right now, I got a taxi waiting outside, and the driver of the taxi's the fellow who took Alice Evans from the boat to the hotel last night, and he knows something.
How'd you find him?
Oh, the stewardess on the galley pointed him out to me. I'm afraid if I try to bring him in here, I'll scare him. I already asked him a lot of questions.
I'll go outside and talk to him myself. Oh, driver, I'm Nick Carter.
So what? I ain't interested.
But I am. I'm interested in what you can tell me about a young lady you picked up at the Gallia last night. You took her to the Hamilton Park Hotel, didn't you?
All right. So what if I did?
Look, you'll save yourself time and trouble if you'll answer my questions. You picked her up about 8 o'clock, didn't you?
Yeah, about that.
How long a drive is it to the hotel?
About a half hour. Maybe if the lights was against you, 45 minutes.
And how does it happen that you didn't register in at the hotel till nearly 10 o'clock?
Well, I did.
Where'd you go between the time you left the Gallia and the time you reached the hotel?
I stopped over the house on 22nd Street for a while.
Did Miss Evans leave the cab?
Yeah. She said she wanted to see Winslow's daughter. Said they went to school together.
You mean it was David Winslow's house you stopped at?
Yeah, I said so, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Thanks. Here. This will pay you for what's on the meter and for the information.
Okay. So long.
Find out anything, Nick?
That depends, Patsy. Now, Penny, what was the dope you got at the ferry?
Well, it's like this, Nick. I found one of the ferry guards who remembered seeing an old guy with big white side whiskers get on the ferry about the time Evans' train must have got in from Chicago, see? Well, this guard got such a kick out of the whiskers that he watched for the old guy to get off the boat at the other side so he could get another gander at him.
And did he?
Nah, the old guy didn't get off.
What?
What?
Was you sure?
Sure. And the old guy wasn't on the boat anywhere.
Well, that would sound as if something might have happened to him during that ferry ride. Oh, Alan.
Nick, I've got some news. Mr. Evans was alive this morning.
Is that so? How do you know?
I'll tell you. I went to see Mr. Evans' banker this afternoon to see if he had any word from him. He showed me a check that Mr. Evans had made out this morning. A check for $50,000.
Dated this morning?
Mm-hmm. Yes. It was made out to John Smith and endorsed by David Winslow.
David Winslow? You're sure of that, Ellen?
Yes, I'm sure. Why, Nick?
Here's why. Last night, a girl who claims to be Alice Evans, but apparently isn't, stops off at Winslow's house on the way to the hotel.
Yeah?
Mr. Evans disappears last night. And yet a check made out by him this morning turns up endorsed by Winslow himself.
Hey, wait a minute. That does look suspicious.
Certainly does. Patsy, tomorrow morning, you and I are going to call on Mr. Winslow. Very good of you to see me, Mr. Winslow. I'm Nick Carter, the detective.
Yes, I've heard of you, Mr. Carter.
Miss Bowen, my assistant.
How do you do?
Good morning, Mr. Winslow.
What can I do for you, Mr. Carter?
Mr. Winslow, you know James Evans?
Only very slightly.
Are you acquainted with his daughter, Alice?
No, Mr. Carter, I'm not.
I see. Did a check of Mr. Evans recently pass through your hands?
Why, yes, it did. I cashed one of his checks yesterday.
Did you know that Mr. Evans disappeared the day before the date on that check? Well, he did.
You don't say.
Would you be in a position to know if the signature on the check were a forgery?
Well, the signature was genuine, all right. When Mr. Smith presented for payment a check in the amount of $50,000, I naturally sent the check to Mr. Evans' bank for verification. They said it was good, so I paid Smith the money.
I see. You said a few moments ago that you didn't know Alice Evans.
Yes, I did.
But didn't she call here night before last?
Why, yes, she did. She called to see my daughter. They were classmates at school. My daughter was not at home, so she talked to my wife for a while and left.
I thank you for your trouble, Mr. Winslow.
Not at all.
Come on, Patsy. Time we're running along.
Okay, Nick. Good morning, Mr. Winslow.
Good morning.
Good day, Mr. Winslow. Good day to you, sir. Patsy, I'd be tempted to believe what he said, even if I didn't know that he has an excellent reputation in banking circles here in town.
Well, what he told us certainly sounded straightforward enough to
Hold
allay.
it, Patsy. See that man going in the house next door?
Oh, yes. What about it, Nick?
I saw that man at court a few weeks ago, charged with murderous assault.
What?
And now we found him going into the house next door to Winslow's. Patsy, I want you to get back to the office immediately. Tell Penny to see what he can find out about that house. The address is 832 West 22nd Street.
Yes, Nick.
I want to know more about that place.
Talk clearer, Nick. What did you say that address was?
832 West 22nd Street, Riley.
Well, now, Nick, that's a curious thing. One of the boys picked up a bum this morning, and when we searched him, we found a slip of paper in his pocket with that same address on it.
Swell, Riley. Hold him. I'll be right down.
I don't know, I tell you. How many times I got to keep on saying that?
You don't know who pushed the man off the ferry, who kidnapped his daughter, where she is now, or anything about it?
No, I tell you, no.
Who's the girl who's staying at the Hamilton Park Hotel under the name of Evans?
Where's the Hamilton Park Hotel?
All right, Baker, all right. Guess I must have you all wrong.
I'll say you have.
You live at 832 West 22nd Street?
Well, I don't exactly... No.
Who does live there?
Oh, how should I know?
Where does David Winslow live?
Ah, right next... Who's David Winslow?
All right.
Yeah, Nick?
I'm through with Baker. Not the fellow I thought he was.
All right, Baker. The guard's waiting for you just outside the door. You'll take you back to your cell.
Okay. I hope you're getting what you're looking for, Carter.
Well, Nick, what did you find?
Riley, Baker thought he told me nothing. But his answers weren't as clever as he thought they were.
Yeah?
Actually, he told me that Evans was thrown off the ferry into the river and that he was picked up in a rowboat that was waiting for him.
Well,
I also discovered that he knows David Winslow and that he knows what goes on at 832 West 22nd Street.
Hey.
All of which, while not conclusive evidence, tells me I'm on the right track.
Nice going, Nick. Well, what's next?
Riley, I want you to release this man Baker at once.
What? Well, release him, Nick. But why?
I want to be sure the rest of the gang knows I'm on their trail. The first thing Baker will do when he gets out of here will be to tell them. They'll undoubtedly make some move to try and stop me. And that may bring him out in the open. Penny, what'd you find out?
Well, I'll tell you, Nick. Whoever's running that gang's keeping it pretty secret. None of my old pals know anything about it. All I could find out is that the address is the hideout of what they call the Secret Six.
Yeah?
An ex-convict, they call the butler, takes care of the place during the day and keeps it cleaned up.
That would be the man Patsy and I saw. What about David Winslow?
Nobody connects his name with it nowhere.
He must be extremely clever. Or I'm extremely much of a dope.
You're no dope, Nick. Dope. Hey, where's Patsy? She asked me to bring her back some peanuts.
Oh, she went to see that girl who's posing as Alice Evans at her hotel. Hey, wait. I didn't realize it was so late. She should have been back by now. Found this note at her desk when I came in about lunchtime.
Yeah. Again, Nick. Girl who calls herself Alice Evans just called to say she had information on her father's disappearance. When I told her you weren't here, she asked me to go over and she'd give it to me and I could get it to you. We'll take a run over to the hotel and see what she wants. See you at the office when I get back, Patsy.
And that was almost 5 hours ago.
Say, look. Should we go over there and have a look-see?
Well, first I'll phone Miss Evans. Hamilton Park Hotel. That's, Shermore 32423.
Gee, if that bunch of crooks has tried anything on Patsy...
Hamilton Park Hotel. Good afternoon.
Miss Alice Evans, please.
Miss Evans, I'll connect you.
Thank you.
You know, I ain't known Patsy long, but she's a pretty swell kind of dame for...
I'm sorry, Miss Evans does not answer.
Thanks.
Nobody home?
No, Penny. And I don't like it. I think I better get going and... Wait a minute. Nicholas Carter's office.
Nick Carter?
Yep. Who's this?
If you want to see your girlfriend Patsy again, Carter, keep out of the Evans case.
What do you mean?
If you make another move to try and find out what happened to old man Evans or his daughter, you can kiss your girlfriend goodbye. It'll be curtains for her.
Nick, just because the Secret Six meets here doesn't mean that they'll be keeping Patsy a prisoner here.
I know that, Penny. But we saw a couple of members of the gang go in here a few minutes ago, didn't we?
Yeah, sure we did.
Well, if I can't make them tell me what they've done with Patsy, my name isn't Nick Carter.
Oh, whatever you say, Nick.
You say that man they call the butler is upstairs on the first floor now?
Yeah, he's writing in the back parlor.
And let's get to the basement. Quick.
Oh, but the door's locked, Nick. It's got a special Townsend lock on it.
Well, that won't be the first door with a Townsend lock on it. That my little fake lock. Let's open it. There. Quiet now. Wonder where this door goes.
Oh, that leads into the basement of the house next door, Nick.
Then I'm right. That's the basement of the house where that banker Winslow lives. He is in on this.
Hey, Nick, sounds like somebody's coming down here.
You're right, Penny. Here, quick. There's a storage closet. Get in here. I'll leave the door open a crack so we can watch him. It's that butler, Penny.
You're not going to gag me again, are you?
That must be Old Man Evans.
What's that stuff you have there? Oh, if you call that food, you can take it away.
Penny, if one of us stands on each side of that door, we can grab the butler when he comes out. But don't let him call out. Those other guys might hear him.
Well, whatever you say, Nick. Like this?
Go on.
That's
Get
the
out
idea.
of here. Go on, get out.
Here he comes. Now. Good. All right. Drag him into Evans' room. Here, quick. Now, shut the door.
Okay. What's this? What are you doing?
You're Mr. Evans, aren't you?
Oh, yes,
Well,
I
I'm
am.
the detective, Nick Carter.
Well, oh, thank heavens.
You know where the other two men are that we saw come in here a little while ago?
They're probably in the room where the gang meets at the end of this hallway, sir.
That's Winslow. Quick, Mr. Evans.
Yes?
What does this butler's voice sound like?
Well, very much like yours, except that he had a kind of dialect, no particular country, just foreign.
How does the butler address Winslow?
Just Senor Winslow, I
I
think,
see.
sir.
Yes, Senor Winslow. You called me?
I've called you several times. Where have you been?
I've been trying to find something in the back of the storage closet. You wish something, Senor?
Yes. When the boys come in for the meeting tonight, tell them not to leave until I get here, no matter what time it is. You understand?
But of course, they must not leave until you come. I will tell them.
All right, and don't forget.
Wait, that was amazing, Mr. Carter. It was almost a perfect imitation.
All right, Penny. You better get this butler chap tied up and gagged before he comes to.
Well, whatever you say, Nick.
Mr. Evans.
Yes?
You know why you were kidnapped and brought here?
Why, yes, Mr. Carter. They want my fortune. I know they've kidnapped my daughter and substituted in her place a girl who looks enough like her to be her double. They plan to have her get possession of everything she can, sir.
Then they forced you to write that check for $50,000, didn't they?
Yes. But, Mr. Carter, do you know where my daughter is?
I'm sorry, Mr. Evans, I don't. But I expect to know very soon.
Oh.
Come on, Penny. Let's get down the hall and let those thugs tell us where Patsy is.
Whatever you say, Nick.
What do I do then? Yeah, all right.
Hold it, Penny. I'll turn the knob on the door very gently. Then when I give the word, we'll rush them, just in case there may be more than two in there.
Whatever you say, Nick.
Easy now.
Yeah, all
right. Get your hands up, all of you. What is it?
Oh, nice shooting, Nick. He should have known better than to pull a gun on you.
All right, you get up. It's only your wrist that's hurt. Come on, get up. Now drop your guns on the floor. Come on, let's have 'em. Now then. What have you crooks done with my assistant, Patsy? You heard what I said? What have you done with her?
We don't know nothing about her.
No? Well, maybe you don't know it, mister, but when I get mad, I can be dirty and mean, and somebody gets hurt. Now, where is she?
I tell you, we don't know anything.
Butler!
It's Winslow again. Penny, keep a gun on these two. If they open their mouths, let them have it. Shoot to kill.
Butler, why don't you answer me?
Pardon, Senor. We are having a conference. We did not expect you until later. You are coming in here?
I just wanted to tell you that I don't expect to be...
Put him up, Mr. Winslow. I'll do the telling from now on.
Why, what's the meaning of this, Mr. Carter? You can't...
Shut up. Where's Patsy?
Where's who?
You heard me. What have you done with my assistant, Patsy Rowan?
I don't know anything.
No.
about-
Where is she?
Don't.
Where is she?
Don't. You'll break my arm. Stop.
For the last time, where is she?
Oh. Stop it. Stop it. I'll tell you. Oh, my arm.
Well?
Oh. She's upstairs. Second floor, back bedroom.
Door locked, I suppose.
Oh, I'll get her, Nick. I took the butler's keys away from him.
Good work, Penny. Make it snappy. I'll watch these two for a nickel thugs.
Yeah, whatever you say, Nick.
All right, Winslow. Get over against the wall with the rest of you cheap bums. And if you've hurt one single hair on Patsy's head, you'll be lucky if you live long enough for me to turn you over to the police.
She's all right. We did nothing to her at all.
Lucky for you. Tell me, Winslow. Why'd you throw Evans off the ferry boat? Wouldn't it have been easier to have kidnapped him someplace else?
I had the ferries watched for several days and found at the time of night, in the bitter cold weather we've been having, the rear deck of the ferry is almost always deserted. So we planned it that way. We had other plans ready in case that didn't work out.
Oh, Nick, am I glad to see you.
Patsy, are you all right? Anybody hurt you?
No, Nick. They're a little rough, but they got as good as they gave me. Look at that black eye on the guy on the left.
Good for you, Patsy.
Hey, Nick, after I got Patsy loose, I looked in some of the other rooms, and I found this dame in the front room up there. Say she's Marion Blake.
My name is Marion Blake.
You're not Marion Blake. You're Alice Evans.
No, I'm not Alice Evans. I'm Marion Blake.
Aren't you saying that you're Marion Blake because you're afraid the gang will hurt your father if you admit you are really Alice Evans?
What?
Well, you're quite safe now, Miss Evans. Oh, Mr. Evans.
Yes?
Will you come in here, please?
Yes, Mr. Carter.
My father here. I'm free.
Yes, Miss Evans. Here he is.
Oh, Alice, my dear. Oh, I'm
Penny, you better go get Riley. You'll find him waiting just around the corner. He can take over now.
Tell me where you were. Mr. Carter, I can never thank you enough for what you've done. We owe you our lives, Alice and I.
You don't owe me anything, Mr. Evans. Getting rats like these out of circulation gives me more satisfaction than anything else ever could. This is your room. You two wait here till I call you.
Come in.
Good morning, Miss Evans.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Carter. Have you discovered anything about my father?
I was about to ask you the same question. Have you heard from him?
No, Mr. Carter. Nothing.
Well, let me be the first to bring you the good news.
Good news?
Yes. Your father's been found.
He's been found?
Yes. He was kidnapped and imprisoned by some crooks who were trying to steal his fortune.
Oh, my poor father. Where was he found?
In a basement room where the gang was keeping him prisoner.
Has he told you what happened to him?
Oh, yes. He told us everything.
Everything?
Oh, by the way, Miss Evans, I brought a friend with me this morning. I thought you might like to meet her. May I ask her in?
Yes. Yes, of course.
Ellen, will you bring the young lady in?
Okay, Nick.
Do you recognize this young lady, Miss Evans?
All right, Mr. Carter. You can drop that Miss Evans stuff now. I see you know the whole story.
Practically the whole story, yes. Oh, Alice, have you met the real Marion Blake?
No, I haven't. My goodness, she does look like me, doesn't she?
Yes, but you didn't fool me, dear.
No, I suppose I was crazy to believe that I could fool a man who was as much in love with you as he is, Miss Evans. Resemblance is certainly close enough to fool almost anyone else, though. Why, she even sounds like me.
Miss Blake, whose idea was it to substitute you for Alice Evans?
My husband. He was the head of a Chicago gang. Saw a picture in the paper, and the idea came to him. Her coming back from South America seemed to be the ideal setup for carrying out the scheme, so we came east to do it. We knew Winslow from a couple of jobs we did from in Chicago. Didn't it occur to your husband that when you threw my father off the ferry, he might get pneumonia in the icy water and die? We didn't worry about that. We knew he'd live long enough for what we wanted. Why, you cold-blooded...
Alice, take it easy.
But did you hear what she...
That's all over with, dear. The police will take care of her now.
I'm not usually bloodthirsty, but I hope she gets the electric chair.
Well, the chair's hardly the sentence for attempted extortion, Alice. But by the time she gets out of jail, she'll no longer be young and pretty. And with the marks that prison will leave on her, she'll never again be able to double for you.
This was another strange experience of Nick Carter, Master Detective, called The Substitute Bride, or Nick Carter and the Mystery of the Night Ferry. Another of the curious adventures of Nick Carter, which are brought to you regularly at this time by WOR Mutual. And now, Nick, what strange adventure are you and Patsy going to tell us about next week?
Next week, I want to tell you about a case that never seemed to be twice the same.
What do you mean by that, Nick?
Well, what Nick means is this. The case started out as a suicide, turned into a murder, and then disappeared entirely.
And I disappeared with it.
Well, all this sounds very screwy to me. Are you sure you're talking about next week's story?
Nothing else but. But I'm afraid that if you want any more details, You'll have to listen to the story itself.
And if you're wise, you won't miss it. It's one of our best.
That it is. But for now, so long, folks.
So long.
And so long to you both until next week. In the strange adventure you have just heard, Nick Carter was impersonated by Lon Clark, Patsy by Helen Choate. Original music was played by Lou White. The entire production was written and directed by Jock McGregor. Next week, at the same time, listen to another curious experience of Nick Carter entitled
A Disappearing Corpse. For Nick Carter and the Mystery of the Apartment House Murder.
This story is a copyrighted feature of Street and Smith Publications, Incorporated. The Return of Nick Carter is produced in the studios of WOR and is broadcast over most of these stations every Wednesday evening at 8:30 Eastern War Time. This is Mutual.
This, I believe. Mrs. Sidonie M. Gruenberg is an authority in the field of parent education. The author of many books, her latest was written in collaboration with her daughter, entitled The Many Lives of Modern Women. The creed which Mrs. Gruenberg expresses is a reflection of her experienced and fruitful life.
In spite of all the changes that have taken place during my own 71 years, I believe that family living is basic to human living in any society. I believe that the continuous sense of belonging and the sharing and caring unique in family life are essential to the development and happiness of each individual. When I was a young woman, I was determined to avoid that leftover, useless, unneeded feeling that so many mothers seem to have after their children grow up. I saw too many women who had led full, useful lives, becoming fussy and discontented, and for fear of being superfluous now that they were no longer full-time mothers, clinging desperately to their children. I had only the vaguest picture of what I did want to be, or what I did want to do. I knew only that I did not want to become that kind of frustrated and possessive woman. I knew further that it was possible to be a warm, loving, devoted mother and still be a productive person in the outside world. My own mother, left a widow with 6 children, with no training except in the homemaking arts, had become a successful businesswoman. Now, I never planned to do through choice what my mother had done through necessity. But I felt that I should be able to continue developing as a person and at the same time to be the best wife and mother I was capable of being. The person who has influenced me most in holding fast to this conviction has been my husband. Years ago, just before our 4th child was born, my mother, then retired, came to live with us. It was our plan to have a share in the household responsibilities and so free me a few hours each day to continue working with the Child Study Association. Then a small informal group of people interested in all the various problems of family living. Shortly after our youngest child was born, my mother had a heart attack. At this point, of course, I thought that the only thing to do was to give up my outside interests. My husband, however, who has as much vision for the future as he has wisdom of the past, said to me, and I have never forgotten his words, "This is an emergency. We must meet it with emergency measures, not think of it as our permanent way of living." We did just that. We dipped into our meager savings to get some household help, and while this period was not easy for me, I have been forever grateful to my husband for keeping me from shutting the door to the outside world behind me. At the time, I never dreamed that the little child study group should grow into a large national organization, nor that I would be for more than 25 years its director. I lived each stage of life as it came along, trying to do what seemed best at the time, enjoying our children, and yet constantly aware of the future. Now, we have many patterns of family living, but whatever the pattern, I believe that every woman should find her place beside her husband in a creative, dynamic partnership that will enable both to develop as parents, as persons, and as citizens.
That was Mrs. Sidonie M. Gruenberg, a native of Vienna, now a resident of New York. At 70, she is still a vital, active individual, with 4 children and 10 grandchildren.
Starring Edmund O'Brien as Hank Mitchell.
Hank Mitchell's the name. The guy who writes that column buried somewhere in the middle section of your Examiner. In case you haven't discovered it, well, it's a lot like anybody's life. Sometimes it mutters around like an old man, absently looking for his pipe. Sometimes it can start out frolicking like birds on a Sunday morning, and then turn up with a corpse in the dark alley. The corpse in the dark alley is the business at hand. In a big city, a dead man is a pretty impersonal thing, but this one I had a special interest in, because they wanted me to identify it. It was early morning when I walked into the county morgue, and there was that same familiar ammonia smell stinging my nostrils, the usual gleaming tile, and the empty feeling you get when the cold swipe of the morgue hits you across the face like the tail end of a nightmare. The police lieutenant was waiting for me. He nodded to the attendant to pull back the white sheet. Well? Yeah, that's him. That's Ted Carter. Ted Carter. And as the attendant pulled the sheet back up over him, I couldn't help feeling that no matter who they might say killed Ted, the one who'd really put him under that canvas sheet was me. I'd known Ted since we were kids, growing up in the same block of tenements, only I took to banging on a typewriter while Ted started hanging around with the bad boys. We still managed to see each other through the years, and whenever we got together, I never lost the chance to make noble sounds about Ted going straight. Because he liked me, he started listening to me. And so, because he listened, he was lying on a slab. I turned to the lieutenant. He was looking at his pocket watch and yawning.
We had to get positive identification, Hank. You were the only one we could reach. Sorry I got you out of bed.
No, it's okay.
Well, I guess that winds it up. Be seeing you. Thanks for the trouble.
Hey, wait a minute. What's the hurry? You act like you never knew the kid.
Sure, I know. So what? I know lots of people.
Stuck his neck out for you more than once. Saved your face a couple of times that I remember.
I know you had a friendly interest in the kid, Hank, but no, he got it the way all hoodlums eventually get it.
He's been going straight and you know it.
Well, what are you sore about?
Well, who did it? Who killed him?
Go in any book joint, any gym, they'll look in any back alley, any flop house. Whoever you find that could have done it. Take your pick.
Take my pick?
Nobody talks, Hank. Nobody remembers anything. No clues, but a lot of suspects. In my book, it's murder by a person unknown.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Well, maybe for you it's that way, Lieutenant. But not for me. I walked away from the lieutenant like he had the smallpox and I'd never been vaccinated. When I hit the street, it was raining. The sky was gray. There was a cold chill in the air. I waited for a cab, thinking for the first time that I hated this city. Hated it because somewhere out in that rain was Ted's killer. What was he doing now? Sleeping? Having his morning coffee? Waiting for the first editions to come out to see how well he'd done? You'd have to look hard to find anything about Ted, Pay Cook, that Friedman found shot, period. When you're next to anything, that's a nice way of saying, you're dead, brother. Lie down. When the cab showed up, I went over to see Ted's girl, Joan. As soon as she opened the door, I knew she'd found out. Her face looked pinched and pale. Her eyes were red like He squeezed out that last tear.
They called me to the police station.
Yeah.
Why did it have to happen like that?
Who do you think did it, Joan?
I don't know. He told me he was all through with the rest.
What was he doing? Who had he been mixed up with?
He never told me anything. I never asked him. I believed him when he told me he was going straight.
I'm going to find out who killed him, Joan.
You and Ted lived in different worlds. He wouldn't want you to get hurt because of him.
He believed me when I told him he'd be happier if he went straight. That's a nice thing to keep me company from now on, eh?
But this is for the police, Hank.
Sorry, the police aren't interested.
Oh, but Hank...
Who was the last guy he worked for, Joan? Who got sore when Ted decided to quit, huh?
I don't know. I don't know.
Joan didn't know. I went around to the old haunts, his former friends. They didn't know. The district attorney didn't know. The cops didn't know. Ted had kicked around in this city among all these people for 28 years, and now, suddenly, it was like he'd never lived at all. Then I remembered a little item from his old life. A little item with baby blue eyes and red hair. Laverne Clare. He'd gone with her before he met Joan. Even after he met Joan, I know he kept sneaking back to Laverne, like a drunk, deciding whether to spend his last coin calling Alcoholics Anonymous or buying a glass of muscatel. I went looking for Laverne. She had the number 4 spot, one of those 5-a-day shows on the untidy side of town. When I got there, I had to wait till the fleshy part of the entertainment was over. Then I went to a dressing room. Ted spent a lot of time telling me how crazy he was about you, Laverne.
Yeah? He's a sweet guy. Ted is all right.
You like to tell me about the way you looked when you danced?
Yeah, sure. Hey, where's my drink? That bottle there.
Hmm?
Pour me, will you?
Oh, sure.
Oh?
Say when.
Sorry, that'll be when.
Uh-huh. Here you are.
Oh, thanks.
Who do you think killed him, Laverne?
Look, Mr. Mitchell. You're a nice guy. So why don't you go back to your office and write your column? About pretty things, Mr. Mitchell. Nice, harmless things. You don't want to get mixed up with Bailey or with that guy Jerry. They're poison, Mr. Mitchell. Why, they... Go home. Get out of here.
Bailey.
I didn't say Bailey.
What's Bailey? Characters of parlors, pinballs into diamond stick pins, numbers, racket, Bailey, huh? So Ted knew something and he had a shot.
I didn't say that. I didn't say anything.
And who's this Jerry?
I don't know anything. Get out of here. I don't understand.
Yeah. I'm beginning to understand. So I had myself a lead, George Bailey. Only it was like going fishing with the hope you'll be lucky enough to catch a trout, but all of a sudden, look who's eating your worm, Moby Dick the whale. Before I told anyone else, I thought I'd go back and see Joan. I think I know who killed him, Joan.
You do?
I'm not positive, but it's the beginning.
Who?
George Bailey. Know him?
Bailey? Who told you it was Bailey?
You're getting pale, Joan. So you think it was Bailey, too?
Oh, listen, Hank, stay away from Bailey. He's probably...
Yeah? Well, I'll let you know exactly how much trouble. See you later.
Where are you going?
The lieutenant told me anyone could have killed Ted. He invited me to take my pick. Well, I'm going over and see that cop. I've taken my pick. George Bailey. Hank, you surprised me. You really expect me to arrest George Bailey? On what charge? He's mixed up with Ted's killing. You know it, and I know it.
But outside of this Laverne girl, have you got a witness? One single witness who'll testify that Bailey ever knew Ted?
Now, you know nobody would testify against Bailey.
But I've got to have something to go on, Hank. You have one shred of evidence pointing to Bailey.
All right, arrest him on suspicion and then sweat it out of him.
Now, wouldn't I look fine against Bailey's high-powered shyster lawyer?
So what?
Me trying to make an arrest stick because some drunken dame shot her mouth off. And even then she'd deny it if I put her on the witness stand.
Uh-huh. So you don't want to touch Bailey?
Oh, wait a minute. Get me one witness who saw them together. Find me one scrap of circumstantial evidence. I'll arrest Bailey in a minute.
You won't find anything. I know. I've tried.
All you'll find is frightened people and blank walls. Bailey's had this town by the throat for 10 years. No, I'm sorry, Hank. I can't help you. But I couldn't stop. I was like a snowball. Somebody started rolling down a hill. I didn't know where I was going or what would happen when I got there, but I had to keep rolling. They've got a name for that. It's called the guilt complex, and I had it in Technicolor. Ted was dead and buried because he believed in me. I couldn't forget that, any more than I could forget my name. And then I remembered my column. Sure. Why not? Why not? The stories of those happy winos would have to move over. I was going to work on Bailey in the only way I knew and keep my fingers crossed that something would happen. What big-shot racketeer sends for his aspirin every time someone mentions the back-alley murder of Ted Carter? When is the district attorney going to get wise and change the address of Mr. B from a downtown penthouse to an upstage death house?
What's for the list, boss? Mitchell's latest little offer. When are the police going to bring in the Carter killer?
Let me see it.
And if they don't know who it is, I'll give them a hint. Think of Bailey and reach for the letter B. How long is he going to get away with that? If I'm wrong, why doesn't somebody sue? Why doesn't somebody sue? Hand me the phone. Sure.
Hello?
I want Hank Mitchell.
You got him.
I'll say it only once, Mr. Mitchell.
Huh?
I don't like this kind of publicity.
Uh-huh. You must be Bailey.
I'm asking you to lay off.
Oh? Real polite, like that.
That's right. Real polite.
So what's the good word, Mr. Mitchell?
A good word, huh? Well, I got a whole sack full. If you get a copy of the Examiner first thing tomorrow, you'll see him right under my byline.
Now listen,
If you're nice enough to call, I'll give you a preview, something like this. One of the local gendarmes going to knock on Mr. Bailey's door with a warrant for his... Okay. So he doesn't want a preview. Well, let him pay 7 cents. I got back to my rooming house a little after 10. I was feeling pretty good. That guilt complex about Ted Carter wasn't hitting quite so much. I locked my door and stepped inside. I didn't have to shut the door. It was shut for me.
I've been waiting for you, Mr. Mitchell.
Well, as long as you're here, make yourself at home.
You're a wisecracker, ain't you? Like your friend, Ted Carter.
What do you know about Ted Carter?
He was a regular car.
Okay, what do you want?
My boss sent me over to take a look at you.
Your boss?
Mm-hmm. Mr. Bailey.
And your little boy Drew, huh?
Yeah, regular wisecracker.
Till that 4th year, I'll be dropping around to see him for an interview.
Uh-uh.
Huh?
You don't want it that way. He sent me to see you instead.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He don't like people who don't pay attention to his telephone messages. He thinks you're very nasty, yapping all the time that he had something to do with the Ted Carter killing.
So?
So, like I said, Mr. Bailey don't like it.
Okay, Buster, now get out of here.
Not right.
No.
Mr. Bailey wants me to teach you a lesson. Mr. Bailey don't like smart guys. Wisecracker.
I woke up with a nice view of my ceiling. A sign outside the window flashed on and off. And every time it flashed on, it was like that punk of Bailey's with his blackjack testing his strength in my skull and doing fine. After a while, I crawled to my knees and worked my way over to the wall. And I climbed up the side of the dresser till I reached the phone. Operator, get me a piece. No, never mind. Skip it. All of a sudden, I didn't want the police in on me. I wanted this to be a private party.
All of a sudden, I was tired of the lieutenant shaking his head and saying, give me evidence. I was tired of the clatter of my typewriter and the fiery words that added up to nothing. I guess maybe it was the beating I'd taken, or maybe that guilt complex about Ted working overtime. But all of a sudden, I wanted to feel a gun in my hand. I washed up and changed clothes, found a cab. It was 11:15 when I reached Joan's apartment. I had to knock a long time before she came to the door. She was rubbing the sleep out of her eyes.
Oh, James, come in.
Thanks, honey.
What happened?
Surprise party by the same people who surprised Ted.
Wait, I'll get some bandages.
That's not why I came. Ted once told me that when he decided to quit, he brought his gun to you so you could keep it and know he was on the up and up.
So?
I want Ted's gun.
Well, what are you going to do with it?
Never mind, just get me the gun.
Crazy, Hank, you won't...
The gun. Will you get me the gun?
In the bottom drawer of the dresser. I got it. I think you're crazy. Here.
Thanks. Now, if I can use your phone. I called the examiner and talked to a pal on the crime beat. He gave me 2 telephone numbers for Bailey, one at his home, one at his office. I called the home first. They told me he was still working. I called the office, and when friend Jerry answered, I hung up.
Well?
He's at his office, a hard-working fella.
You know what he is?
Sure. Wentworth Tower, skyscraper in the loop. Well, she's seeing you, Jones.
Rick, you're crazy. You're walking right into a trap. They'll kill you like they killed Ted.
If I don't go, Jerry will be coming around again. You see, either way, it's no good. At least this way, I say when.
But Hank...
Wish me luck.
Look! Oh, you fool. You'll end up like Ted with 5 bullet holes in your back.
At the Wentworth Tower, there was almost midnight. The streets were deserted. The only sound was distant traffic. The front door of the building was locked. I looked through the glass. The only light in the lobby came from the night elevator. An old man sat inside the elevator dozing. I pounded on the window. He looked out at me. He shook his white head for me to go away, but I wasn't going. When he saw me staying there, he got to his feet and started walking toward me. He snapped the door lock and pushed open the front door.
Nobody in this building now. All the offices are closed.
Not all of them, Pop. I have an appointment with Mr. Bailey.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take you up. 34th floor. Come on.
As the elevator rose, I dipped my hand in my coat pocket. The cold touch of the gun had the comforting sensation of a boy holding his father's hand. The elevator came to a stop on the 34th floor. The doors opened, and Jerry stepped out of the darkness, also with a gun, only his was in his fist.
So that call tonight was from you, huh?
Take us downstairs, Pop.
Sure, thanks, Eric.
I want to see Bailey.
Mr. Bailey made me the reception committee.
Where does the reception take place? In the alley?
Maybe. And keep your hands out of your pockets. Let me see what you've got there.
A gun.
Pretty nice.
Thanks. Don't mention it. I'm always handing out food. You go out first, Pop, and open the street door.
All right, Terry. I'll get it open for you.
Is everything all right, Pop? Is it all clear? Why don't you go out there and see? Here, I'll help.
Hey, what?
I shoved the kid out and pushed the lever that slammed the door shut and started the elevator going up. I could see little lights blink on the instrument panel as I passed each floor. Bailey was on the 34th floor, and I was getting closer. 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 Stop. What was wrong? I kept punching the lever. Again. The elevator wouldn't budge. I tried to open the door, but it sealed tight. The signals on the panel showed I was stuck between the 11th and the 12th floors. What was wrong? And I heard noises far down below. Now I knew what was wrong. Jerry and the old man had gone to the basement and switched off the power on my elevator. I didn't have to be a mastermind to figure out their next move. They'd bring up one of the other elevators and come after me. I began to feel like an animal trapped in a cage. And then I noticed a little door on top of the cage. I climbed on the old man's stool. I pushed the door upward and grabbed the sides of the opening. Then I started pulling myself out. Now, I'm standing on top of the elevator, hanging onto the greasy cable that ran down from the roof of the building. And far below, I heard the other elevator with Jerry and the old man start climbing. Leaning forward, I could just about reach the door of the 12th floor. A little further, a little... Almost lost my balance. The other elevator was coming fast. I lunged for the handle of the 12th floor door again. Got it. Pulled forward with all my strength. The door opened. And I began pulling myself up through the open door and onto the 12th floor. I crouched, gasping like a fish out of water. Then, before I could move, the doors of the other burst open.
Okay, Mr. Wise Guy, what now?
I don't know. Got any suggestions?
Yeah. With all that oil on you, we're going to send you to the cleaners. Pop, you go downstairs. You better wait a while.
Huh?
Look down the hall.
Who is it?
He was coming.
Oh?
One of the cleaning room.
We're going to have a witness.
Hey, Pop, will you wait for me, please?
Now, come on.
Well, this is sure a break, you being up here, Pop. I thought you'd be taking a snooze, and I'd have to wait for heaven knows how long.
No, I'm going down now. Get in.
Oh, what about the gentlemen here? Ain't they going down?
Huh? Yes, of course. Huh? But we can't. I just remembered. Remembered what? I left those reports on top of the desk. Come on, we'll go back and pick them up. We can pick them up tomorrow. I want to get them now. And go yourself. I'll go down. But you heard what this lady said. It's hard to get the elevator this time of night. We rode down, the four of us. No one said anything. The cleaning woman was half dead on her feet, her head bobbing, half asleep. That lovely, innocent, tired old gal was saving my life so long as she was with us. Then her head jerked up. She blinked at the signals on the panel.
I'll get out on the 3rd floor, Pop. I'm going to the dressing room.
Stay there. Here you are, number 3.
Thanks, Pop. Good night. Or should I take it more?
Good night.
Me too. I got to get off here.
You don't. This isn't the main floor.
For me, this is the main floor.
Mitchell! Come back here, Mitchell!
I raced down the hall, past the cleaning woman who stared at me with her mouth wide open. In the distance, I saw what I was looking for. A little red sign that said stairway. My pal was right after me. When I got to the stairs, I started down, 4 at a time. He was right to my tail.
Don't knock that nobody, Mitchell!
I had to get out of here fast. The party was getting rough. I reached the main floor, but instead of going through the lobby and into the street, I ducked behind the cigar counter. A few seconds later, the kid raced by. He went through the front door, looking for me on the street outside. I looked at the indicator over the night elevator door. The old guy was still parked on the 3rd floor. I went to the stairs again and down into the basement. A light was burning at a desk. At the desk, a little guy in overalls was sleepily playing solitaire. I grabbed hold of a wrench and started toward him. He heard me and looked up.
Hey, what do you want?
One of those elevators. Which one is working?
What's going on in this
Which
store?
one of those elevators is working?
Number 5?
All right, you come with me. Here, this pool room looks all right. Come on, get beside.
But listen,
You shouldn't complain. You don't know how lucky you are.
But...
I got into the elevator and started up. I was getting to be a regular genius with these elevators, but this was going to be the end of this little game. I was finally on my way up to see Bailey. Floor. The building tapered off up here. Around the small square hallway were 6 office doors. Bailey was behind one of those doors. The hallway switch was easy enough to find. I snapped off the light. Now, if Bailey decided to start shooting, I wouldn't make such a good target. I went to the first door. Dudley and Dudley, patent attorney, as the gilt letter said.
second door was locked. Then a telephone started ringing inside one of the offices. The fifth down the hall. I hurried over to it. Locked. The transom was half open, but no light showed through. Then, as I was about to turn away, I heard...
Hello? Is that you, Jerry? It's a good thing you called. Where the devil are you? The loft, you crazy fool. He's up here. Yes, in the hall, just outside this door. Get that night elevator and come up here right away. We turned out the hall light. Don't take any chances. As soon as your elevator door's open, kill him. All right, move. Now, what are your plans, Mr. Mitchell?
That was a good question, Bailey. What was I going to do? I couldn't break into Bailey's office. I didn't have a gun. He'd kill me before I could turn the door knob. The indicator above the night elevator door was blinking fast. It was on its way up. The kid was in it, and the instant the door opened, he'd kill me. Right then, I started thinking of Joan.
You'll end up like Ted with 5 bullet holes in your back.
Yeah, I was beginning to look that way. The elevator had passed the 17th floor, 18th, 19th. The little lights were dancing like a string of shooting stars. The kid was coming up fast. I was beginning to feel those bullets tearing into my back.
You'll end up like Ted with 5 bullet holes in your back.
I couldn't get Joan's voice out of my mind. What was I going to do?
You'll end up like Ted with 5 bullet holes in your back.
With 5 bullet holes in my back. He's back. The elevator reached the 30th floor. I fought my way 34 stories to reach them thinking about Bailey.
You'll end up like Ted with 5 bullet holes in your back.
As the kid's elevator passed the 32nd floor, I started running for the elevator I'd brought up from the basement. I jumped into it and started down. I didn't want to kill Bailey anymore. I wanted only to get to Joan. Joan was waiting for me when I got to her apartment. She was still as upset as when I left her to get Bailey. She wanted the whole story, everything that happened. When I finished, I watched her relax a little.
Then you didn't kill Bailey?
No, Joan, I didn't kill Bailey.
Police sirens. Sounds like it's trapping in front of the house.
Yeah. They came here sooner than I expected.
Sooner than... You've been lying to me. You did so, and they come to arrest you. You lied.
I haven't lied, Joan. They haven't come to arrest me.
Huh?
Come to arrest you.
Me?
For the murder of Ted Carter.
What are you talking about? I didn't...
Oh, but you did. You said the wrong thing tonight when I went out to get Bailey.
What do you mean?
You said I'd end up like Ted with 5 bullet holes in my back. How did you know about that?
What?
It wasn't in any of the newspaper stories. You never went to the morgue. There was no way on earth you could have known. Unless you killed him. Be right with you. That's the police, Joan. Any more questions?
He's willing to do anything for you. Scrub his floor, wash his clothes, give him a good home, anything. But always he kept going back to Laverne. The way I loved him, do you think I could let him in?
Okay, boys. I'll let you in. I just want you to know one thing, Joan. No matter what you thought, Ted really loved you. You see, Laverne represented his old world. But with you, he was going to have a new life. You remember that, don't you? Okay, boys, he's ready. He's all yours. Yep, that's the story of Ted Carter. Murdered in the name of love. Okay. That's what love does. They'll string along with me on it. He isn't just feeling low tonight. Because murder is only a symptom of what they're suffering from. The disease is selfishness and jealousy and greed. Too many of us have decided that the golden rule may have been all right for Grandpa, but nowadays the fashionable thing is dog eat dog. Then I think, how can that be? How can any of us hurt or hate or even be indifferent to those around us? And in this whole crazy world, all any of us ever really has is each other. Says it for tonight. Nice job. You finish up, go for the coffee boy, dad for a second-hand sandwich, and a tired cup of coffee, and then you start all over again. Because tomorrow you got another night suit. You don't know where the story's coming from or where it's going to take you, but you know it's somewhere out there in the dark, waiting for you. Tell you about it next week. Coffee boy.
You have just heard the first of a new series, Night Beat, starring Edmund O'Brien. Also in our cast were Betty Moran, Jack Crucian, Ann Stone, Herb Butterfield, Dale Bonner, Jack Edwards, and Larry Dodson. Music was by Rex Corey. Night Beat was written by Larry Marcus and directed by William P. Rousseau.
This I believe. Signe Hasso is an actress. She made her stage debut at the age of 12 in her native Stockholm. She became a leading Swedish actress and played in theaters throughout the continent of Europe. She came to the United States in 1940 and has appeared on Broadway, in motion pictures, on television and radio. Here now is Signe Hasso.
Philosophy to me could be one word of love, one word of a truth, infinite wisdom, common sense, so many things. In order to receive, I must give, and in order to give, I must receive. Nothing plus nothing minus nothing equals nothing. I will not attempt to speak of personal happenings. We all get our share of everything. But this I firmly believe. I must not compare, for then it certainly seems out of balance, because I do not get more of either sorrow or joy than I am individually able to carry. It's strange, but perhaps the most natural thing in the world, that a girl like I from Scandinavia would have to come 9,000 miles and in the Negro race find an individual to give me an answer to so many questions, so many thoughts. An answer so simple, so down to earth, and yet so strong in spiritual power. I'm speaking of my friend Ruth Thompson, an extraordinary woman who for many years taught me and many others how to hear, to listen, to see, and to live. I can't tell you how she does it. It varies. Many times she would tell you a story and leave you to find the moral. To me this story says very simply that which has been said and debated in various religions and philosophies. There once was a painter, a very successful painter. At the age of 35, he was already famous all over the world for his extraordinary talent. One day he said to himself, I must paint something that will make me immortal. What can I choose to paint? What will appeal to every man? Then he said, of course, I will paint the Christ child at the age of 12. He looked for a model. He searched for a long time, and so he found a child that answered everything he wanted to paint. For a year the child posed for him, and at the end of the year he had finished the most magnificent painting that the world had seen for a long time. In every home there was a print of his painting. Everyone worshipped it, everyone found strength in it, and everyone saw in his painting their own Christ. 30 years passed. When he felt life coming to an end, he got an urge to once more establish his immortality as an artist with another masterpiece. He thought to himself, what can I find to paint now? Then he found it. He said, what do I get if I turn Christ inside out? I have Judas. I will paint Judas. He started out looking for a model. He thought it would be an easy task, but in no man's face could he find exactly what he was looking for. But one night he went into a bar. As he stood there, somebody tapped him on the shoulder, and he heard a voice saying, Sir, some money for a drink, please. He turned around and looked into the face of Judas. He said, if you'll come to my studio and pose for me, I'll give you all you want to drink. The man was glad. After another year, the painting was ready, and it was just as great as his other masterpiece. Looking at it, he was pleased, knowing he had fulfilled his talent. He called to the man to come and look at his painting. The man came silently, looked at it, and said nothing. The artist said, "It's a masterpiece, don't you like it?" Now the man started to cry. The artist said, "What is it? Don't you like it? It's great." The tramp answered him, "Yes, sir, it is, but you don't remember me. 30 years ago, I posed for you as the Christ child."
That was Signe Hasso, an actress, who in addition is now producing motion pictures in her native Sweden. A busy commuter to Hollywood and Europe, her home base is in New York City.
The makers of Camel Cigarettes present Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, private detective. Other cigarette has Camel's rich, full flavor, the flavor of Camel's costly tobaccos.
And no other cigarette gives you this proof of mildness. In a coast-to-coast test of hundreds of people who smoked only Camels for 30 days, noted throat specialists reported not one single case of throat irritation due to smoking Camels. Make a note. Think of your throat. Try Camels.
Transcribed is Richard Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Powell.
Now, in my business, I run into a lot of people, make a few friends, and a lot of enemies. I remember a few weeks ago when one of those friends walked all the way over from 31st Street to tell me about his trouble and leave me a share of it. His name is Angelino Giuseppe, and he runs a butcher shop. Little guy with a big, broad stomach and a smile to match. I met him when I was on the force. He used to stop in and buy some cold cuts or a pound of bacon. I liked his smile, and I always hung around for one of his bad jokes. But when he came into my office that afternoon, pushing his big stomach in front of him, I spotted trouble right away. The smile was gone. Well, Angelino.
Hello, Mr. Diamond.
Haven't seen you in a long time. Come stai?
Sto male.
Yeah, I could tell. Oh, what's the trouble? The pig's knuckles got arthritis?
Pig's knuckles?
That's better now. That's more like my aunt.
You always are kidding. You make it easy to smile.
Yeah. Accetti.
Grazie.
All right, Angie, let's have it. What's wrong?
Well, I'm going to ask you to do something. I can't pay you.
We'll talk about it later.
You can take it out in a trade.
That'll run into a lot of ham hocks, Angelino.
Well, I want to pay you.
No, I can always throw a barbecue. Now, tell me about it.
Well, you see, it's like this. I come to you as a sort of a representative from all the other butcher shops, the independent ones.
I see.
I ain't the only one that's worried, so all the butchers got together last night and decided to do something about it.
All of the independent butcher shops?
That's right. Every week, a couple of guys come around and collect. Now, if we don't pay, we get our shops bust up, and if that ain't enough, we get our heads busted too. Look, see, I still got 3 stitches right here in the top of my head.
Oh, I see. Well, that's a nice job. Doctor must have used a loom.
I got this last week when these 2 guys came for the money. I couldn't pay, so one of them hit me with a blackjack.
Oh, that's too bad. What about the law, Angelino? That'd give you the right kind of protection.
Well, we discussed that at a meeting, but we decided it was too dangerous. We've been warned. If we go to the police, we get hurt bad. Well, we all got families, Mr. Diamond. We can't take the chance.
Now, have the 2 men who beat you up been back?
No, but they will be.
Okay, let's go.
Well, we're going someplace?
Yep, we are going someplace. You don't know it, Angie, but you just hired yourself a new assistant.
I have?
You certainly have. Come on, I want you to show me how to carve a lox. Well, that's what happens when your reputation gets around the butcher shops. I'd been telling Angelino what a great detective I was for the past 10 years, but I should have known he'd never take my word for it, so I had to prove it. We went out, grabbed a cab, and 15 minutes later I was standing behind the butcher shop counter. Angelino handed me a white apron.
I don't get it. Why you want to be a butcher?
Angie, you want me to get a line on these guys who do the collecting, don't you?
Well, sure.
Well, I can only think of two ways. I could watch them and not look suspicious. Make like a butcher, or crawl in with the ground round.
Crawl in.
Think of what would happen if someone looked down for the price of ground round and caught it staring back at them.
That's so funny.
Oh, now, come on, Angie. It wasn't that funny.
Well, customer.
Oh, nothing like learning firsthand. Let me handle the sale.
Well, you think you can?
Sure. Here she comes.
Oh, good morning, Mrs. Hennessy.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Angelino. Well, business must be good. I see you have a new butcher.
Oh, yes. This Mr.
Hangtooth.
Mr. Hangtooth.
Hangtooth?
Good morning, Mrs. Hennessy. Something I can do for you?
Oh, yes. How much is the lamb shoulder today?
Which one?
What?
Look, maybe you better let me...
relax, Angie. I'll make it. Which shoulder would you like, Mrs. Hennessy?
Is there a difference, young man?
Oh, yes. You see, this lamb here is really a ram.
A ram?
That's right. Hurt his shoulder playing against the Cardinals last season. We're also selling his shoulder pads at 21 cents a pound.
Mr. Angelino.
You'll find him hanging in the back with the spare ribs. Now, Mrs. Hennessy, if you can tell me which shoulder you want, I'll wrap it up and send it off tackle between the liver and the...
Well, I never...
Of course you haven't. That's the trouble with you people. Here's a nice little ram that played his heart out. Oh, by the way, the heart is special today, 11 cents a pound. Angie.
She's gone, huh?
Like laundry in a tornado.
Well, what do you want to do that for, Mr. Diamond? She was one of my best customers.
I wanted to get her out of here, and I wanted to get her out in a hurry. Just as she came in, I spotted two guys heading this way, and when they saw her, they backed off. Look, they're standing across the street right now.
Where?
Right over there. You see them? In front of the drugstore.
Yeah, that's them.
It is?
They're the ones that hit me. They're the ones that come around and collecting.
Well, they're coming again. You better duck. I'll take care of it.
Well, listen, please, you be careful. They're pretty rough monkeys.
Go on, Angie, and beat it. They're almost here.
All right. I'll be in the back.
Okay. A mile can a cigarette be? Make the camel 30-day test and you... Well, good morning, gentlemen. What can I do for you?
Hey, where's Angelino?
Oh, well, he's out buying some old buffalo. I'm the new assistant.
Buffalo? Shut up. Well, tell me, new assistant, when'll they be back?
Well, it's hard to say, gentlemen. These buffalo are in Wyoming.
Oh, yeah? Carl, I think this guy's trying to be funny.
You, my friend, win yourself a lamb chop. How'll you have it, with or without the bloomers?
Hey, you know, some Red, I think you're right. Hey, what's your name, laughing boy?
Hangtooth.
Hangtooth?
Oh, I'm going to have more fun with that. So's everybody.
Well, look, Hangtooth, you know who we are?
How many guesses?
You won't need even one. We're in a hurry. We're collectors.
Oh, well, we put all the scraps out and back in a can. You can't miss it.
I don't like you.
Well, I have a friend. Maybe we could double date.
Look, let's stop the clowning. If Angelino didn't tell you about us, it's going to be too bad for you. We're for some money. We get every week $25.
Yeah, last week Angelino didn't have it, so he accidentally hit his head. We figured that all that blood would make him remember it this week.
Well, I'm sorry, friend, but Angie didn't say anything about it. Tell me, what does he pay you boys for?
Oh, little things. Protection, mostly. You see, if he'd paid us last week, he wouldn't have hit his head.
You know something? I know a big, fat cop who would just love to hear all about this protection Angie's paying you for.
You do, huh?
Yeah, I do, huh?
Well, look, seeing as how you're a new boy around here, maybe we ought to tell you first.
Why don't you do that?
Yeah, let's go in the back.
I like it here. I listen better.
Oh, you do, huh?
Is that all you guys can say? Now get out from behind that counter.
I want to explain the thing to you.
Yeah. Go on, Red. Explain it to Mr. Hagtooth.
Hangtooth.
You'll have to partner me. He don't hear so well. How's your hearing, Hangtooth?
Depends on what I'm listening to.
Well, listen to this real good. Seeing as how you're working for Angelino, you're going to need protection, too. So let's have the $25.
I want to know what I'm buying.
Oh, sure.
Get him this time. Hey, you rough one.
Yeah. You're bleeding.
Yeah. Want to get rough, Hangtooth?
Hey, you're liable to kill him.
Yeah.
Let him alone. Hey, we better get out of here.
Yeah. We'll come back for Angelino later.
Well, you really can't blame brave little old me for going to sleep at that point. One I could have handled. But in that cramped space behind the counter, with both of them coming from different directions, I had to give it up sooner or later. And I did for about 20 minutes. When I finally snapped out of it, I looked up and saw 3 heads staring down at me. 2 herring with Angelino in the middle.
Mr. Diamond, you're right. Oh, lovely. Here, let me help you get up.
Swell. Now, look for my eyes, will you, Angie?
I didn't know what to do. I guess I should have called the police.
Oh, fine time to tell me. Let me sit down.
When I thought about calling the police, I also thought about my family. Those 2 men might beat up my family just like this.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Mr. Diamond, please, you better forget about this. It's too dangerous. When they come back, I'll pay them the money and nobody gets hurt.
Look, Angie, I can understand why you're scared. Those 2 headhunters aren't kidding, but you can't let them get away with it.
I can and I will. I ain't taking no more chances. First they bust up my shop, and then they bust up me, and now you. No thanks. I got enough.
Okay, Angie, but not me.
What are you going to do?
Well, I got a sore face and a nasty disposition. I won't get back to Norwell until I find those 2 guys and tie their necks in a bow. I left Angelino's shop and headed for the 5th Precinct Police Station. I wanted to look up 2 sure bets for the police gallery. One named Carl and the other Red. 2 guys who went around scaring poor little businessmen like Angelino. By the time I reached the station, the aches from the beating were making me very unhappy. And when I walked into the squad room, I spotted something that didn't make things any better.
Yeah, what are you... Holy cow, Diamond.
Well, Sergeant Otis, I'm glad you noticed. Means I put myself together all right.
What happened to you?
Don't be silly. I always bleed just before lunch.
Well, how did it happen?
It wasn't easy. Is the lieutenant in?
Sure, go ahead.
Well, thanks. Say, Otis, when are you going to start shaving in the morning?
Why? What's wrong?
Your 5 o'clock shadow's 4 hours fast.
Oh.
How you, Walt?
Wow. What hit you?
Where the bruises show up. I come on in Technicolor.
Someone sure did a good job.
Yeah. That someone is 2 guys, Walt. One named Red and the other Carl.
Red and Carl.
Yeah. I got closest to Red. Name matches the hair, busted nose, about 190, very nasty with a sap.
And Carl?
Dark, greasy, well-dressed if you like the type. Big boy with a scar under his right eye. I gave Walt the complete descriptions and briefed him on what had happened in Angelino's shop. We went down to the mug file and started going through pictures. 20 minutes and 8 dozen charming photographs later, I found what I was looking for. I showed them to Walt, and he said, "Oh, you know him?"
Yeah, Carl Tate and Red Dillon. Here's the package. Dozen arrests, half a dozen convictions between them.
Very impressive.
Couple of muscle men. What do they go after you for?
I've been pulling a protection racket on some of the independent butcher shops. Who do they work for?
He used to work for Jack Arno before he got sent up.
I know they're not working this setup alone. It's too big.
No, they wouldn't be. Hey, Tiny Easter's in town.
Tiny Easter? Oh, used to be Arnold's right-hand boy.
That's right. Came in about a month ago. I'd love to get something on him. Nobody's ever been able to nail him.
Well, it adds up. Easter worked for Arnold, and so did Carl Tate and Red Dillon.
Oh, we can't pick him up just because two of his boys worked you over. He'd just say they weren't his boys.
I don't want him picked up. I want Carl and Red. If Easter goes along with the deal, you can have him.
What are you going to do?
Get cleaned up and pay Mr. Tiny Easter a visit. What's his address?
He's got an office on East 48th Street, 804.
Thanks, Walt.
Tiny's a bad boy.
I'll take along my 38 just in case I have to spank him. I left Walt, went back to my office, took a clean shirt out of the closet, and washed up. Locked up again, went down to the street. I grabbed a cab, and 20 minutes later, I was standing in the reception room of Tiny Easter's office. A big guy with a bulge under his arm was trying to be as unreceptive as possible.
So you want to see Easter? You have an appointment?
No, I haven't got an appointment. Now, tell Easter I'm out here.
What's your name?
Oh, you're going to get hung up on this.
What do you mean?
The name's Hangtooth.
What?
I see. Now, make like an office boy and tell Easter I got a message for him from Carl and Red.
You're a pretty fresh guy, aren't you?
Yeah, and I'm going to spoil if I have to stand around much longer.
You can spoil rotten for all I care. You're not going to see Easter. He's busy.
Okay. You know, you get so excited you'll ruin your stomach someday.
Oh, I don't think so.
You don't, huh? Skeptic.
What do you want?
I'm collecting scalps.
How'd you get by a lefty?
He's tied up with a stomachache. Swallow the fist.
Okay, so you got muscles. Also, you got a pushed-in face. Lefty do that?
Carl Tate and his blood brother, Red.
Oh? What you come to me for?
They're working for you, aren't they?
You smell like a cop.
Name's Hangtooth.
I doubt it.
And good for you. I'd hate to go through that again. I'm a private cop.
Well, now, good for you.
I was in a butcher shop when your two boys wandered in and started playing squash with me. I don't like to get pushed around, Easter, and I don't like your racket. I want Carl and Red, and if I get you along with them, the state will hang a medal on me.
Looks like you got nothing to lose.
You'll look at it any way you like. Now, what about your two playmates?
I don't know what you're talking about, Shamus. Never heard of those two guys.
I don't think you understand, Tiny. I'm pretty mad. I'm going to find these two guys, and I'm going to do it even if I have to be unpleasant with you.
Just what do you mean by unpleasant, Mr. Hangtooth?
You break a leg, that's unpleasant. Ow! Don't try to pull a gun on me.
You busted my hand. Take your foot off.
Drop the gun in the drawer. Okay.
My hand's busted.
I'll take the hand out empty.
Oh.
Now, let me explain it again. If you go out and shoot 12 people tomorrow, I'm going to be sore about it. But when you start intimidating a bunch of hard-working little guys and their families, I go off like a skyrocket. And then when a couple of your cheap gunsels push me around, I explode.
I tell you, I don't know these guys.
Oh!
Look, Easter, please believe me.
I don't know them.
You worked with them in Chicago.
Ah!
I'm telling you the truth, Easter. I'll work you over till you look like an eggplant in the subway.
Look, whatever your name is, I got boys. They'll take care of you.
Who's going to tell them to do it?
I am.
With your jaw broken?
Oh!
Now, where do I find Carl and Red?
You knocked all my teeth loose.
I got 31 to go. I guess you really don't understand.
Yes, I understand. Oh.
Now, where are they? You still need some encouragement?
No, in the warehouse by the 14th Street docks.
What warehouse?
Rogers and Sons. Big sign on the top.
You mind if I use your phone?
Go ahead.
Don't you know it's not polite to listen, Easter?
Well, what do you want me to do?
Go to sleep.
No!
Before we continue with Richard Diamond, here are a few words about smoking enjoyment.
More people smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
That's right. More people smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
Behind Camel's great popularity are the two things that mean steady smoking enjoyment: flavor
and mildness. No other cigarette has the rich, full flavor of Camel's costly tobaccos that are properly aged and expertly blended.
And no other cigarette gives you this proof of mildness. In a coast-to-coast test of hundreds of people who smoked only Camels for 30 days, noted throat specialists reported not one single case of throat irritation due to smoking Camels.
Make your own Camel 30-day test, the sensible test, based not on a puff or a sniff, but on day-in, day-out smoking. You'll see how flavorful Camels are and how well Camels get along with your throat, pack after pack.
How mild, how mild, how mild, how mild, how mild can a cigarette be? Make the Camel 30-day test, and you'll see. Smoke Camels and see.
And now back to Richard Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Powell.
I put in a call to Walt and told him what had happened. He said he'd send a couple of men down to pick up Easter and agreed to meet me at the warehouse. It was getting late in the afternoon when my cab pulled up near the river and I got out. The cold breeze was kicking up little patches of white on the water, and the light fog was moving in from the Atlantic as I started down toward a big building with a sign on the top that read, Rogers & Sons Importing. The place was boarded up, but a window in the basement showed signs of recent use, so I jimmied it open and dropped down on the dark, cold pavement. I held my breath and listened. The place was as quiet as a tomb, so I moved across the room until I found a flight of stairs and went up to the main floor. I opened the door and listened again.
Sure, it's getting cold in here. Yeah. How long are we going to have to stay here?
Till Easter tells us to leave. Now relax.
It was Carl and Red, all right. They were somewhere in the warehouse, so I kept on my toes and moved as quietly as possible toward the voices.
You want to play some cards or something?
Yeah, it's okay with me.
I don't know why we got to hide out like this.
Because Easter said to, that's why. We got to stay cool till he finds out about that guy we worked over this morning.
Hagtooth?
Yeah. Might have been a cop.
So what? We were cops over before. I'm cold.
Look, just steal a card. Yeah? What? He did, huh? Hey, what's the matter? Boss! Hey!
What's the matter?
I know, that was Easter. The guy we worked over was in his office, tied him up. He got loose, but the guy's headed down here.
Hagtooth?
Yeah. Just as Easter was going to say what to do, sound like he got in a fight. The cop. Yeah. I think we better get out of here.
Good afternoon, boy.
Huh? Hagtooth.
Hangtooth. Come back here, Carl.
Help me.
You shouldn't have pulled a gun, Red.
Since when do you butchers carry rods?
Since we get pushed around by guys like you.
You're the doctor. I'm shot bad.
I can't take it back. They'll all be here in a minute.
You're a lousy butcher. I hope Carl pays you good.
I'll see that he gets the chance to try. I left Red lying on his face and ran toward the front of the building. The only way out was that window in the back, and Carl was sure to be hiding somewhere in the dark, hoping to get around me and head for the basement. There were a dozen places to hide in that warehouse, but I had one advantage. He couldn't see me any better than I could see him. I stopped and listened. Come on, Carl. Red's hurt pretty bad, and the law's on the way. You got to get me before you can get out of here. Carl! Come on, Carl. Give it up. You're stuck and you know it. Carl! I had his position pretty well spotted. By his gun flashes, I could tell he was edging his way toward another large pile of packing cases. I moved off to my left, still keeping his approximate position in line with my gun barrel. It was my idea to circle him, but something changed my mind. A metal ladder stretched down from the ceiling and led up to a catwalk overhead. I went up, one rung at a time, half turned to keep Carl in line in case he made a break. After what seemed like hours, I reached the catwalk and started crawling on my hands and knees toward Carl's position. I was nearly over him when I heard the door open.
Rick! Lieutenant? Yeah? Here's Ron. He's shot up pretty bad. Rick! Come on, Otis. Maybe he's up that way.
I couldn't answer him, and he was heading right for Carl. I kept looking down, hoping Carl would show himself. Walt got nearer, and I held my breath. Just then, Carl stepped out and aimed his gun at him. I beat him to it.
Lieutenant, shut up.
It's okay, Walt. I got him.
Where are you?
I'm up here on the... Oh.
There he is up there. Rick. Good grief.
Yeah, good grief. Get Otis out of here, will you?
What's so funny, Lieutenant? If you knew Otis, you could rib Diamond for the rest of his life. Yeah?
Walt.
Come on, tell me what it is.
Walt?
Okay. Get out of here, Otis. Oh, Lieutenant.
You heard him, Otis. Now beat it.
Yeah, go on, Otis. Oh, gee, Lieutenant, won't you even...
No, he won't. Now you beat it. It's real funny, isn't it?
It sure is.
I just saved your life, and you stand down there and you... Oh.
Well, don't look down.
Get the fire department.
Don't you ever think about these things before you start climbing ladders?
Well, it was the only way I could get the position to shoot. I just didn't think.
For a guy who can't stand high places.
Walt.
Well, it's your own fault.
Fault, small. Get me down. I'm getting dizzy.
It's only about 50 feet to the floor.
Walt!
Great big boy like you.
If you don't get the fire department...
Okay.
Oh, you big fat ox. I hate you.
Dick Powell will return in just a minute. According to a repeated nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. Again, doctors in every branch of medicine, doctors in all parts of the country have been asked what cigarette they smoke. Again, the brand named most was Camel. Friends, make the sensible cigarette test. Smoke only Camels for 30 days, and you'll see why so many people say, once a Camel smoker, always a Camel smoker. And remember, your best buy is Camels by the carton.
How mild, how mild, how mild, how mild, how mild can a cigarette be? Make the Camel 30-day test, and you'll see. Smoke Camels and see.
Here's Dick Powell with a special message.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, many men who have served valiantly in our armed forces are hospitalized. And as a tribute, the makers of Camels send them gift cigarettes to hospitals in the country and overseas. This week's Camels go to Veterans Hospitals, Dallas, Texas, and Phoenix, Arizona, U.S. Naval Hospital, Pensacola, Florida, and to all hospitals operated by the European Command of the U.S. Army. Now, until next week, enjoy Camels. I always do.
Dick Powell can now be seen starring in the RKO film Cry Danger. Tonight's adventure of Richard Diamond was written by Blake Edwards with music by Frank Worth. Our director is Helen Mack. Featured in the cast were Virginia Gregg, Wilms Herbert, and Arthur Q. Bryan.
Men, whether you buy the handy pocket tin or the big 1-pound tin of Prince Albert, you're in for real smoking joy. PA's Choice Tobacco has a rich taste and delightful natural aroma. It's specially treated to ensure against tongue bite, and it's crimp cut for smooth, even, cool smoking. Get Prince Albert, the National Joy Smoke,
America's largest-selling smoking tobacco. Listen next week for another exciting transcribed adventure of Richard Diamond, starring Dick Powell.
This I believe. Sir Charles Galton Darwin is a physicist. He is also a eugenicist. And in his latest work, The Next Million Years, he has warned of the perils to mankind of ignoring this science. It was he who said that if the population of the world increases at its present rate, in 2,000 years' time, there will be enough space for everybody to stand up, but not enough for everybody to lie down. He has been professor of natural philosophy at Edinburgh University, master at Christ College, Cambridge, and director of the National Physical Laboratory from 1938 until his retirement in 1949. While there, he was in charge of the laboratory's electronic brain. He was one of Britain's chief scientific administrators during World War II, and his is the credit for the device known as Mulberry, which was the artificial harbor for D-Day. Here now is Sir Charles Galton Darwin.
I recognize fully that the appeal of things in life will be different for different people, and I can only say what I've found the most important things in life for myself. I count as one of the most important things in the world the understanding of the world. I've spent most of my time working at the physical sciences, and I count myself fortunate in having lived through the heroic age of physics, when, what with relativity and the quantum theory, our understanding of the nature of inanimate matter has been so much revolutionized as it was 300 years ago in the days of Newton. This has been the science I've mostly studied, but I've always had a lively interest in biological subjects too, and these have much affected what I believe. Among such subjects, one is the question of human nature, and this has colored my view of what will happen to mankind in the future. I believe that a great deal of what's now being attempted for our betterment is doomed to fail, and so I don't share the particular enthusiasms of many of the would-be benefactors of humanity. It's true that there have been immense improvements in material conditions during the past century, but they're quite external, and they leave man's fundamental nature no better than it was before. So, too, the intellectual triumphs of recent years don't signify that man has become any more intelligent than he was in the preceding dark ages. I see no safeguard for us against a relapse into conditions like those exemplified in the sad records of past history. The main hope of bringing about any real betterment in mankind depends on a different thing. It must be based on applying the idea of heredity, a science that's already understood in its principles, though hardly yet in many of its applications. Holding this, I believe intensely in the importance of the family as the continuing unit of human life. When the science of eugenics has been more fully developed, there may be a hope on those lines of really bettering humanity. These are the things that, for me, are consciously of chief importance. But underlying them there are others. The great philosopher Kant once said that there were two things that continually filled him with wonder: the starry heavens above him and the moral law within him. Like him, I too continually wonder at the moral law within me, which dictates my conduct, or perhaps I ought to say, the ideals of conduct which I wish I could fulfill. But I'm entirely lacking in the thing which so many people seem to regard as their mainstay in life, a mystical sense of religion. This I lack, and I'm perfectly content to be without it.
Those were the beliefs of Sir Charles Galton Darwin, whose scientific work is traditional to the family names of Galton and Darwin, and may be proof of his views on the importance of heredity.
Mr. District Attorney, starring David Bryan. Mr. District Attorney. Champion of the people, defender of truth, guardian of our fundamental rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And it shall be my duty as district attorney not only to prosecute to the limit of the law all persons accused of crimes perpetrated within this county, but to defend with equal vigor the rights and privileges of all its citizens. This is David Bryan. In a moment, we'll bring you another case from the files of Mr. District Attorney. But first, a word from our sponsor.
And now, here is our star, David Bryan, as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney.
As district attorney of this county, I've had to fight gambling in many forms. The one thing I've learned is that whether it's a back alley crap game or a high-stake roulette party, the end result is trouble and sometimes tragedy. Of the kind that happened a few days ago in a very expensive penthouse, where a few ladies had gathered to try their luck on the spinning wheel.
Number 7, Rouge.
Oh, 7 again, my dear.
A winner for Madame Collier.
Oh, it's my lucky day.
Every day we play is your lucky day.
Place your bets, Madame. Pick your lucky number. The lucky one, the lady will win, a lady will lose.
That's me. Here, take it all.
Number 13, why, the number is 36.
Oh, goodness, I've lost it.
And that is all for today, Madame. Next week we play again, eh?
All for today. $4,000. Julie, I want a good deal. You're welcome to. No, thanks. This $4,000 is just a drop in the bucket. A very deep bucket. It's too bad. Well, girls, that's all for today.
Thanks for the party, darling. Oh, it was wonderful. Don't forget, girls, next week it's at my place again. You know the address, Sanchez.
Mais oui, Madame Collier. I will be there, of course.
Of course.
Well, goodbye, Julie. Are you sure I can't help?
I don't need any help.
Yes, well, goodbye.
Well, where is the case for our wheel, eh? Ah, yes, here. Right here.
Never mind putting it away, Sanchez. Still have a player.
Huh? But
One
Madame...
roll on black for everything I've lost.
I'm sorry.
You're not, but you might be.
You make that sound like a threat.
That figures. It is. My account's empty.
We have solved that problem before, Madame Coy. The piece of jewelry.
There is no more jewelry. I'm not giving you a thing. But I do want my jewelry and money back.
Oh? Perhaps you think the game was all in fun, eh?
Hardly. I think it's crooked.
That's unpleasant talk.
It gets more unpleasant. Either I get paid back or you get turned over to the police. I understand they don't like men who run illegal gambling games.
You forget, Madame, I was invited to bank these roulette parties by you and the other ladies. I don't think you really want the police.
Stop kidding yourself, Franchette. I'm the wife of the city's most respected banker. The police wouldn't do any more than slap my wrist.
And your husband?
I expected that. Sorry to disappoint you, but it won't work. If necessary, I'll face Stanley with what I've done.
That brings me to an unfortunate conclusion.
It sure does.
You and your husband were planning a trip in a few weeks. By any chance, do you have a large trunk here?
Trunk? Well, yes, in the bedroom, but you'll hardly need a trunk to bring back my jewelry in.
Oh, I have no intention of returning your jewelry. The trunk is for you.
Me? What on earth are you talking about?
It's very simple. I'm much too greedy to give back your money and jewelry. I'm quite sure I can never trust you to remain silent, even if I did.
You're trying to frighten me.
No.
Get away from me. Don't you touch me.
I'm really quite sorry about this, Madame Quaid. I don't like violence.
You're crazy. Stay away or I'll scream.
Go ahead, Madame. There is no one here to hear you. You sent away the servants for the afternoon, remember?
No, please. Please, you can have the money. I don't want anything back.
I won't tell him.
I will make sure of that. I'm sorry, Madame Quaid. I'm really sorry.
District Attorney's Office. Well, just one moment, please. Mr. Garrett, it's Stanley Quaid about his wife again.
Oh, well, I'll take it. Yes, Mr. Quaid. Yes, we're doing all we can to locate her. No, there's been nothing new so far. Yes, we'll let you know the moment we have anything. That's right. Goodbye.
If I ever get married, I hope my husband loves me that much. Mrs. Quaid's been missing 24 hours, and I bet he's called us 100 times.
Well, I think he's got reason to worry.
You think she may have been kidnapped?
I wish I did. I wish I could think she's run off with another man. I wish I could think anything but what I'm thinking.
The missing trunk?
Yes. I can only see one reason why a large and empty trunk should disappear the same time she did.
Chief, some news from the bank.
What is it, Isaac?
Mrs. Quaid cleaned out her accounts. Took all her jewelry from the safety vault.
When?
Piecemeal over the last few weeks.
Her husband runs the bank. Didn't he know about this?
No. The manager said she specifically requested him not to tell her husband. Oh, here. Here's a list of the withdrawals. Looked like she made one about every week.
That sounds like it might be blackmail.
I don't think so. The size of the withdrawals varies too much to be payments. Oh, was the jewelry insured?
Franklin Mutual.
Well, Miss Miller, give them a call. Get a description of the pieces.
Yes, sir.
Send the descriptions to Lieutenant Jorgensen. Ask him to put out a detail to cover the pawn shops. Jewelers, fences, the works. If any of that jewelry shows up, I want to know.
Yes, sir. Will you be out?
I'm going over and have a talk with Paula Collier. She's supposed to be Mrs. Quaid's best friend. Having seen this wicked world as district attorney, I'd say chances are she'll know more than the husband.
Oh, I can't understand it. Where did she go and why? Why?
Here now, you drink your tea, ma chérie. Try not to worry. Madame Quaid is all right.
But what if she's not? Julie lost so much money, she may have done something rash.
What did she lose? 20,000, 30,000 maybe. Her husband pays twice that for her wardrobe.
I know. Only I didn't realize when I organized these roulette parties for you that...
Perhaps you regret this. Perhaps you want me to go away.
Don't say that. I'm glad I could help you, and I just couldn't stand for you to leave me.
Oh, that is more like my Paula. Come here, darling.
Oh, Franchette. Franchette, you do love me.
Of course, my chérie. Of course. What? Were you expecting anyone?
I know. Well, I'd better answer it.
Send him away, and come back.
I will.
Hello. Miss Collier?
Yes, but I'm a little busy.
Well, my name is Paul Garrett.
The district attorney?
Yes. I'd like to talk to you for a moment.
Oh. Well, as I said, I'm a little busy.
It's about Mrs. Quaid.
Julie? Oh. Well, come in.
Thank you.
This is Monsieur Fanchette, our district attorney, Mr. Garrett.
Delighted, monsieur.
How do you do?
Monsieur Fanchette is a business acquaintance.
Of course. But if we could have a moment in private.
Well, certainly.
I shall wait in the library.
Miss Collier, there's an item that may help us explain Mrs. Quaid's disappearance. Over the past few weeks, she's been drawing her money out of the bank and taking her jewelry from her safety deposit vault.
You think that has anything to do with Julie being missing?
Oh, it's possible. Apparently, you have reason to think otherwise.
Oh, no. Well, that is, I hadn't any idea.
Miss Collier, we need to know the facts if we're going to locate Mrs. Quaid. So if you know the reason
for...
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I can't help you.
I see. Well, maybe you...
Excuse me. Hello? Oh, yes, just a moment. It's your office, Mr. Garrett.
Thank you. Yes, Miss Miller?
I'm sorry to bother you, Mr. Garrett, but something's come up. Is it all right to talk?
Yes. Go ahead, Miss Miller.
Lieutenant Padway called. He got a report on a man seen early this morning on the Jefferson Street Bridge. He pushed a large object over into the river. It could have been a trunk.
Oh, no. Is Padway going to drag for it?
He's arranging it now. Mr. Garrett, did you hear? It sounded like...
I heard you, Miss Miller.
No, I meant...
I know what you meant. Tell Padway I'll be happy to join him for lunch. Understand?
Yes, sir, I'll tell him. Goodbye.
Well?
Is, something wrong, Mr. Garrett?
Oh, no. Just a date I don't want to keep. Well, thank you for your cooperation. Oh, never mind. I'll let myself out. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Look at Lieutenant Padway. I think he's getting discouraged, Chief. An hour dragging, and all we found is 4 tires, a garbage can, and 200 pounds of just plain junk.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what did you find out about Mrs. Quade's social life?
There's nothing to find out. No running around, no men. The way she seems to do is get together with the girls once a week for some kind of a party.
Some kind? What kind?
I don't know. Secret girl-type party. You know, afternoon affairs. The servants are sent away for the day. She and a lot of other high society women take turns playing hostess, you know.
Oh, yes. It's funny, though, sending the servants away.
Well, if you think it might be important, I can check on it.
You do that, Hardy.
Well, here we go again.
Looks like they've hooked onto something heavy.
And 2-1, it's more junk.
I wish you were right. I'm getting that sick feeling in my stomach.
Sure heavy.
I get it nearly up. Let's take a look.
There it is. I can see it. Chief.
Yeah, and it's a trunk. Looks like a big piece of scrap iron tied to the handle to weigh it down.
The only question now is, what's inside?
Well, we soon know. I'm afraid we do already.
Chief, is it...
It's Mrs. Quade. Harrington, from here on in, this is a murder case. This is David Bryan. Before we continue with Mr. District Attorney in the case of the Lady Gamblers, here is an important message from my sponsor.
And now, back to David Bryan, starring as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney.
Some ladies had decided that they were above the law. They invited gambling into their homes, and along with it, murder. Only my office was starting with less knowledge. All we knew was that the wife of a wealthy banker had been locked in a trunk and dropped into the river. Somewhere in the city was the man with the answers. All the answers. Because he was the killer.
No, a man can't even shave in peace. Just a moment. Please. One moment. Paula.
Oh, Francis, it's terrible. Terrible.
What's terrible? I was shaving. Haven't I told you not to come here?
Just read it. It's all over the papers. Poor Julie.
What? Here, let me see. Banker's wife found in trunk. Man was seen pushing trunk of bridge. But witness was too far away to furnish police with description of any value.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do, Finch, if the police will find out about the roulette parties?
No, not necessarily, my dear. But they very possibly might discover that I was at her house.
You, Finch, you were the last one to leave.
No. You and I left together.
But Finch, you didn't.
Of course not, my dear. Paula, surely you don't think that I would have done such a thing?
You were the only man there.
But not the only man in her life. However, if you think so little of me, go to the police.
Oh, no.
Well, tell them you think that Fanchetti is a murderer.
Please don't. You know I love you.
Only I'm a gambler. Therefore, I am also...
Please don't. I'm sorry I said what I did. It's just that I'm so upset. Please, darling, help me. Tell me what to do.
Of course, darling. We've both upset you. We must try to control ourselves.
Yes.
And for my sake, Cherie, we left Madame Quaid together.
But...
Please? It's only a small lie, my love. And it could save me a great deal of trouble. More than that, perhaps. Innocent men have been convicted. Darling, you wouldn't want a marriage to be stopped by my going to jail, or worse.
Marriage?
But of course. Only perhaps I should not ask you to lie to the police just to...
Oh, darling, of course you should. My fault was in even hesitating. I'll tell them you left with me. I'll swear to it.
My Cherie. Oh, thank you. Thank you for your love and your trust. Now you had better go, eh?
Yes, I know, but when will I...
I will call you tomorrow. Goodbye, my beloved.
Goodbye.
What a pigeon. Yeah. But someday, Fanchette, you must find yourself a pigeon that is not old and molting. Eh?
No. Well, he's not in this group, Miss Miller.
That's the last one.
Good. I'm nearly blind from looking at records. Send them back to R&I.
Yes, sir. Maybe we were wrong about him lifting the phone to eavesdrop on our call.
No, we weren't wrong.
Hello, Chief. Miss Miller. Oh, what a beautiful, lovely, delicious sight. A chair.
What did you find out, Harrington?
Not much. Except that in my next life, I'm going to be an executive and get calluses somewhere besides on my feet. Well, none of the women would talk about the parties. None of their neighbors could see anything through the windows, much to their regret.
Same group of women at each party?
Yeah. Reads like a local who's who, with one exception. A man.
A man?
Yep, me too.
Was he?
I don't know. Description was always the same, though. Tall, dark, and oh so handsome.
Franchette.
You know him?
I think so. Go on.
Well, I don't know if it means much, but he was the first to arrive and the last to leave. And he carried a large case with him, about 2 foot square by a foot deep.
Sounds like a salesman.
Last to leave. It makes him worth a further check with Washington.
Well, we'll need his prints or pictures.
And we'll get both. Harrington, find out where Franchette lives. Use the old street photographer stunt. Get his picture and hand him a card.
All right. I'm on my way.
Well, Miss Miller, you better type out a report on this and send it to Lieutenant Padway.
Yes, sir.
Pictures. Have your picture taken for a quarter. 2 bits for a perfect candid action shot of yourself and your girl. Uh-oh. Here we come. Pose for the birdies. Got it. Here you are, sir. Beautiful snapshot to give to your wife.
What? Oh, I don't want it.
I'll just take the card, sir. Here you are. Now, you send it in with a quarter and you
I don't want my... Did you say you already took my picture?
I didn't say so, but I sure did take the picture, sir. A wonderful natural shot of you.
Give me the film.
Huh?
I said give me the film.
You've got rocks in your head, Dad.
Why, you insolent...
Hey? But I'll say one thing. You got more nerve than I gave you credit for. Have a good nap.
Nice work, Harrington. Wiring this photograph to the FBI should bring quick results. I hope you didn't scare him off.
No, I don't think so, Chief. He'll just figure me as a blankety-blank street mug.
Good. If he's not suspicious yet, he may go to another of those parties. I think if we find the answer to them, we'll be pretty close to the answer to Mrs. Quade's murder.
Yeah. Funny.
What?
Oh, this wire photo machine. We stick a picture on it, and a minute later, some guy in Washington takes the same picture off his machine. Even when you know how it works, it seems like sort of black magic.
District Attorney's office. Oh, yes, Harrington. Just a minute. He's right here. It's for you, Mr. Garrett.
Oh, thanks. Yes, Harrington?
Hey there, Chief. Fanchett just left his place with his case. I tailed him to Miss Collier's house. He's there with her now and no sign of servants.
Good work. Any sign of the other women?
No, not yet.
Well, let me know if they start showing up. Oh, hold on, Harrington.
Yes, wait. Mr. Garrett, it's communications.
If that's the FBI report on Franchette, take it down, Miss Miller.
Yes, sir. Is that a Washington reply on a man called Franchette? Okay, give it to me.
Hang on, Harrington. Miss Miller's getting the word on Franchette.
I'm hanging, Chief.
Uh-huh.
Hope we can do the same for Fanchette.
Huh? I got it. Send the teletype up as soon as you can. Take a look.
Wow. Harrington, we hit a jackpot.
Huh?
Franchette is wanted in a dozen countries. Gambler, confidence man, suspicion of murder. Real name, Arthur Jones.
Jones. 10 to 1, he was born in Brooklyn.
Hackensack. You stay put unless he tries to leave, then take him. Padway and I'll be there in 10 minutes.
You go ahead. I'll have Padway waiting for you to pick him up.
Tell him 3 minutes.
Oh, where are they? They should have started arriving an hour ago.
Fanchett, well, it wouldn't be too bad if they didn't show up, I mean.
Don't show up? Why wouldn't they show up? Tell me, Paula, why wouldn't they show up, eh?
Well,
You told them not to, eh?
Yes. Forgive me, Fanchett. I just couldn't go on with this after poor Juliet.
You stupid old witch.
Fanchett.
I could have picked up $20,000 today, maybe more, but you had to tell...
You've won a great deal from them already.
Oh, what if I have? I wanted today's take so I could leave town with the police.
So you could leave town?
So we could leave.
No, you meant just yourself.
Now, Paula, look...
You never had any intentions of marrying me.
Of course I do. Perhaps I did mean to leave alone, but of course I'll send for you, ma chérie.
Chérie, you're a liar. You're a liar.
Oh, Paula.
You just wanted me to cover up for you long enough so you could get away safely.
All right. You miserable crone. Do you really think I could fall in love with you? I'd rather kill you like I did your friend.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. You weren't so simple and ridiculous. You've known it all along. Goodbye, my love. I'll leave you the wheel as a souvenir.
Fanchett!
What are you... Gun?
You're not leaving, Fanchett.
Paula, no!
Why not? I'm just simple and ridiculous enough to believe you deserve this. For Julie.
Paula, look!
Hold it, Miss Collier. Take him, Harrington.
Right.
Get away from him. I'm going to shoot.
You'll have to shoot me first. That way, keep Franchette behind me. Harrington.
I'll get you.
You'd better put that gun down, Miss Collier.
No. I don't care what you do to me, but I'm going to kill that pretty face.
I said put it down.
You stay back. I don't want to hurt you. Get back. Well, all right if I have to. Oh, my arm.
Nice shooting, Harrington.
Oh, thanks, but don't do things like that, Chief. My nerves can't stand it.
I don't think mine could stand much of it either.
Well, we've solved the parties. Take a look at the wheel. The ladies seem to like roulette.
Fanchett, he killed Julie. Oh, my arm it's broken.
I'm sorry about that, Miss Collier, but you really should be grateful to Harrington. If he hadn't stopped you from pulling that trigger, your neck would have been broken by the state. This is David Bryan. I hope you enjoyed this case from the files of Mr. District Attorney. I'll be back in just a moment after this message from our sponsor.
Now, here's the star of Mr. District Attorney, David Bryan, with a word about the program you have just heard.
Perhaps you read about it in your newspapers. The man we call Arthur Jones, alias Franchette, was tried and convicted of first-degree murder. Miss Collier was indicted as an accessory before and after the fact of illegal gambling, but collapsed before trial and is now confined to the state mental hospital. Now, this is David Bryan inviting you to join us when we present our next case based on the facts of crime from the file of Mr. District Attorney.
Mr. District Attorney was originated by Phillips H. Lord.